Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black But 91. We're here giving you guys a review of Put a Ring on It.
Hey
Oh, I have to mute
guys,
everybody. Sorry about that.
welcome
We've got a bit of
to
echo.
Little Black But 91.
Apologies,
We're here giving you
guys.
guys
All right, everyone. Sorry about that. Yes, so we're giving you guys a review of Put a Ring on It Season 2, Episode 4. It's been quite the blockbuster since we started the reviews. I think, it's been different from Season 1. I think there's been some... I actually have a lot of hope. Maybe not for Darian and Alexia at the moment because they look like they're in the bin. But everybody else seems like there's some redeemable qualities here. Eric is slightly starting to say a couple things which I'm agreeing with, but I'm also just I'm concerned of his delivery. Is a little bit. Is every time he chooses the wrong word, and I'm starting to think, is he doing it on purpose, or is he just really poor with his selection of choice of words? I'm not sure. We've got obviously Sean the Dragon. I'm going to be very honest with you. If my girl decided to banter with another man and call me a nickname and think I'm gonna be okay with it, it's never gonna happen. That's what I'm telling you. He's never gonna. Well, then again, I wouldn't know, would I? So yeah, that's quite interesting as well. But I still think we've got some great things to talk about. Sean and Laronda as well, and Sir James, and we also have as well with Darian and Alexia. She actually walked out at the very end as well because he decided to have his fourth date with Kai. It's I mean, she signed up for the process. I don't know what she's, I know why she's walked out, but baby girl, you signed up for this process knowing they would date. You understand? But I also understand that you are allowed to uphold your dignity. Just remember, when you walked, you can't walk back now. This is why you shouldn't have walked in the first place. If you're going to walk, you can't walk back. If you do, he will never take you seriously again because you decided to walk at this moment. Choose your battles wisely so you can win the war. So, with that being said, let's get the conversation flowing today. I have some really great, masterful, impressionable, what I'm saying, intellectual. I'm trying to think of some more words with that rhyme in here, guys. It might have to help me. And I've got a great team today to discuss. Listen, in our chats, man, sometimes I don't be engaging, but I'll be preying. They be hitting with some notes, boy. You know what I'm saying? Danger's up in her. She'll be getting smoked, though. She'll be getting smoked up in there. You know what I'm saying? Thank God it's him and not me this time. And we appreciate him so much for that, being a sacrificial lamb in the group. All right, cool. So let's get the conversation flowing. We're talking, let's talk first about... Let's go for a big hitter today. Let's go straight for a big hitter, okay? All right, let's go for the Darian Alexia. I don't know, is that a big hitter? I don't know. Darian Alexia conversation because I think those are really great conversational pieces, especially when Dr. Nicole got involved and came in and had a conversation with them. But I want to go before that. I want to talk about Kai's date with Darian because Darian said... she asked him, if Alexia said to you, you can't go any more dates, would you stop dating? And he said no. And not only did he say no after that, she then began to smile. At that point, I knew the devil was real. No offense, not Kai herself, but I'm just talking about the situation. So I want to get you guys' perspective. Let's start off with the date between Kai and Darian, and what your thoughts were and what you saw and what you picked up from the scene. I'm going to go straight to my big hitter, Sean, since we're taking hits all day. But I want you to start out first, man. So you hit him hard, you know what I'm saying?
Come on, Kojo. I need you. I need somebody to have my back in these chats. Come on.
I got you, bro. I got you.
Yeah,
Man.
yeah.
Next time.
I know you're a busy man, but please don't leave me out
Don't leave
there
me
flying
hanging.
solo. They're trying to smoke me. But speaking of smoke, right? So Darian and Kai, right? So we look at that date, the third date. They seem to be really, really playful with each other, forming that bond. I think the thing that's very interesting and destructive to their relationship is the fact that he continues to reveal the cracks and crevices in their relationship to Kai, right? You never do that in a relationship. You never allow somebody else to come in and because it just starts like a little pothole, and then it just expands and expands, and then it becomes a crater. So you leave that room, and he consistently does that. So and she seems to be eating it up, right? She says, I can get him, right? She was like, I know, it seems like he loves her, but I can get him. So she's confident, and every week and the more and more time they spend together, he just shores up her confidence. So those two, I know we're going to dive into different aspects of Alexia and Darian's relationship, but my opinion is no different from last week. They're headed for self-destruction. I got a new song, Bye 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 by NSYNC. They need to go. They both need to flee. There's issues, problems, catastrophe. I'm going to turn it back to you, Koja.
I love that. Let me ask you, because obviously we're the only males on the panel, so it'd be good to get your perspective. What is Darian doing?
I don't know. And it's kind of like he has this, we would think he was a player, right? By the way Kai explains him, and talks about him and puts him on that pedestal. But when you see his interactions, he's very childlike, very immature. So it's just like he's kind of flim-flamming through it. I think he's just so glad to get a little bit of attention. So he's just soaking it up. So he's like a little puppy dog. Just, every time he sees it, it's like no thought. There's nothing. He's just excited to see Kai, see that body. And that's about it. Doesn't seem like there's a plan.
It's really interesting, I think, watching him with Kai. Obviously, let me not go too deep because we're going to go into Alexia and him later on. But yeah, it's interesting watching him with Kai. I feel like what you just said is really great, because I think it reminds me of what we us guys used to say, new meat. That's all it's reminding me of. It's not really reminding me of actually you're really trying to get into a new relationship. It's more of a case of there's new meat, right? And this is the fresh meat, and you want to tap in. That's what it is. That's the kind of energy he's giving me at the moment. I'm not really feeling like, he's trying to make a new girlfriend. It's more of a case of new fresh meat. But hey ho, we don't know 100% because, like I said, I think we need a bit more information, because all we're seeing with him and Kai is just, he walked in with a swagger and a bop in that date with a go-karting. Like, the guy had an argument with his girl, and he walked in there he's walking there like with a swagger and a bop. I said, sir, what one? And I realized, obviously, because it's that newness of someone else. You know what I'm saying? And it obviously doesn't help the fact that she's a bit of a baddie with a body. Okay, cool. Let me get another perspective. Who should I go to? Who should I go to? The ladies. Okay. I'm always looking for that psychological look. Someone's gonna look at me, and then I'm gonna be like, "Yes, you." Yeah. Brittany, is it you, Brittany? Brittany looked at me. Go on, Brittany. I mean, I had you in mind the whole entire time. I just want to wind people up. Go for it, Brittany.
Okay, so what's the question again?
So we're talking about, obviously, the date between Kai and Darian. Maybe give us a bit of a female perspective. I mean, she's coming in there strong. She seems to be enjoying the process of, that she could be taking somebody's man. I'm not even trying to hate on her. I just want to try and get maybe a bit of perspective. I mean, is that something that ladies think about? Do women tend to do this? You know what I'm saying? I don't want to prejudge you women. Do you know what I'm saying? What's your thoughts? You know what I'm saying?
I feel like I'm going to go back to what I said the first week, where Darian is literally silly putty in Kai's hands. Now, if this wasn't an experiment, because he seems to have that in mind, knowing that this is an experiment. So he says that he still loves her, and she knows he does, because she can tell. But part of her also feels like she can get him, right? And I feel like as soon as you let a woman or a man into your relationship the way Darian has been doing, which was the first thing he did, which was a no-no, saying that she was intimidated by her. I wish I found out my man was saying or telling someone else something so deep about our relationship, because now where's the trust, right? Because, I mean, you can tell somebody something without really telling them everything. And Darian is just letting everything out. And he's giving Kai an upper hand to make her feel like she can take this man or take him from Alexia. I feel like there's half and half where it could happen. But then again, Darian, to me, I feel like he's lost in the sauce. He don't really know what he wants. He don't even know why he's still with her. Even though he loves her, you can still have feelings for somebody and still be with them. But, really don't have a way of getting out of it. It's like you're just comfortable. I feel like I said before, or thought about, I don't know if I said it, but I feel as though they are both like placeholders. More so, Alexia is a placeholder for Darian. And as soon as the right woman comes along, could be Kai, probably not. But as soon as the right woman comes along, he'll know it. Like most men do, they know the woman that they're supposed to be with. He'll just up and leave Alexia. He'll just break it off, right? And move on and go be with another woman. And Alexia, we'll get to her later. But with Darian, you know, I feel like once he meets the right woman, he's going to end up leaving her. And he's giving Kai an opening to feel like she can have Darian if she really wants to. And it's a possibility that she could.
I hear that. Thank you very much, Brittany. Thank you. I think it was really interesting as well watching her facial expressions, Kai. Because when she started off the conversation, when they were sitting by the table, she was like, yeah, you know, getting excited about the fact that she could potentially take her from someone else. But when she started to when she began to explain or ask him why old girl is not secure, her face actually changed. She became more serious about the conversation. And I think it was running through her head, as much as all bants and jokes and taking someone's man, if you are going to be with this guy, are you next on the hit list? Because if she's not feeling secure, what's to say that you won't start feeling insecure when you get to that relationship? Do you know what I'm saying? But maybe she was just maybe being a bit more serious about the conversation. Who knows? Okay, let me get someone else. Malaysia, talk to me. I hope I've said it right, because if I haven't, we're another week again. Malaysia, you there, sis, girl?
Okay, so are we talking about Darian or Alexia?
We're talking
Darian?
about Darian and Kai's date.
So with Darian, I feel like he is trying to push Alexia to the edge. And the way he's doing that is through Kai. And I feel like what he's trying to do is to push her back to where he first, I suppose, fell in love with her, where she was more vibrant and active. And I also feel as if Kai is his way out. He may not be that into Kai because through their conversations, it's very superficial, not too much depth, not too much sparks between them. I just feel like it is his way to make her move. I feel like he feels stagnant. I think he says love, creates stagnance, has created stagnance in their relationship. So I feel like that's his way of moving, whether it be upward or downward, in or out, it's his way of making some type of move. And I feel like he wants Alexia, and he's pushing Alexia also to make her move as well through Kai. So that is my little tidbit on their little date.
Yeah, I did think that as well. I felt like he's using Kai as a get out. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? And I'm sure it must hurt Alexia. You know what I'm saying? She gave that man 14 years. Well, she'll learn the lesson here, won't she? Cool, let me get someone else's opinion here. Chef Jay, talk to me, man.
Hey, everybody.
Hey.
Kai. Girl, run fast, run far, run away, please. Look, Darren, I understand she has a little boost of confidence, like Sean said, that, she feel like she can take somebody else's man. That's all fun and games and stuff until they had that conversation where they sat there and she asked him how his day was going or whatnot. And all he was telling her is stuff about him having an argument with Alexia, how they've been together all these years, and it's been off and on and everything. And her face and her confessional was when she said he's in love with her, with Alexia. So when you see her face turn, her wheels turning and her facials and stuff like that, that's letting her know you're going to just play a game. And then what else let me know that he's just going to play a game is you had 3 kids, 2 baby mamas within the time frame, and you told this new woman that. So that's going to, if I'm Kai, I'm questioning like, hold on, okay, so you're not serious about anything or anybody. That's a red flag, a major red flag for me. You have this woman that you've had for 14 years off and on, and you have 2 other baby mamas, and she's not one of them. That's a major issue, because that means that girl is not going nowhere as long as she allows you to keep coming back in. So you can play with me all you want, and you're going to go right back to her at the end of the day, because that's all your cycle is. So, I don't really get what Kai is staying in the situation for, why she chooses to stay in the situation other than to get TV exposure. That's what I look at it for. Darian, he's just looking for outlets. Of course, we can see that by starting a whole argument prior to going to the date. You didn't need to start that argument. You're going on the date already, or whatever. And then you try to flip it on her so you can make yourself feel better while you're on this date, so you can feel less guilty about anything you do on this date, or whatever. You can use your excuse, like if you listen to his wording, unless it benefits him, it's always somebody else doing. You put me in the doghouse, you did this, you did that. It's always somebody else. But I'm gonna jump to this part just real quickly. When they spoke in the bedroom about, Alexia asked, what do you think we're doing wrong? He said, I deserve. When it came to something beneficial, it was I deserve. But everything else, it's you doing this, you caused this, you're the one, you're the problem, you're this, or whatnot. So that right there is, you have no accountability for anything, and you want to keep making excuses by arguments that you create with me to make me feel some type of way so you can justify what you're going to go do. That's a major problem. I don't know what either one of these ladies, what you want to be with this man for. He's not popping right now. Back in the day, I can see, okay, you want to be with a celebrity, your little star and stuff, but right now he's not popping. Alexia, you're invested, so I kind of get it, but still, this is a cycle that you're going down, and it's a rabbit hole that you can't get out of, and it's just really sad. So it's like, baby girl, get out of it. Kai, run fast. I'll leave it there.
Appreciate that, Jay, man. Very thorough as always. Very thorough as always. Chris Natha, talk to me.
Hey everyone. So regarding the date with Kai, I feel like it's starting to feel like Alexia is the side girl. Like it's starting to feel really weird. Um, it feels like Kai is the girlfriend a little bit. Um, Similar to what Sean said earlier, there has been a door opened for Darian to make Kai feel so comfortable, to almost downplay what he has with Alexia and say things like she's not secure and all these things. Like, you just don't do that, not about somebody, not towards somebody that you love and you're in a relationship with. And I feel like that's feeding Kai's either her ego, her desire to want to be number one, because she mentioned in a confessional or something similar that she doesn't play number two or something to that effect. And I'm like, you are on a show where you're dating someone else's partner, right? Whether you knew that coming in, you know that now, right? And so you want to continue the same way the couples have a choice on who they continue to see. I'm sure if the other person didn't want to continue the date, they wouldn't have to, right? So I think Kai is just really enjoying her time of, let me try to win Darian. I don't know if it's to prove a point. I'm not sure if she really, really wants him. Another thing, Darian's spending all this time in the studio. When was the last album? I'm just trying to figure out where's the music. Like, I need the amount of hours you spend in the studio to equal a couple of tracks, a couple of hits, something. Are there streams? Are you on iTunes? What's going on, sir? Where's the music? Show us the music. Okay. That I need to see the music, because listen, I'm all about receipts. Like, if you're not home, okay, show me why you're not home. The amount of time you're not here needs to be equaled. It needs to make sense in our account. Like, I don't play those games. All right. Number 2. 14 years, 3 kids, 2 women, no ring equals run. Run, run, run. Alexia, run. And don't look back. But yes, Kai is acting as if she's girlfriend and Alexia is like a girl who's trying to take her man. It's really strange. He's playing with fire, but I feel like he's using this process as an opportunity to date her. It's like, listen, this is the process. This is the process. When really, I'm sure he's like, I am so happy I get to be with somebody else. Right? But this is the process, right? And so I hope that we see with time that Alexia really sees the light, and just take this as a sign. If there was ever a sign, Alexia, this is it. Run and don't look back.
Appreciate the points there, Chris Nathan. Appreciate the points. Okay, liquid gold coming out. I hear ya. Dr. Nundi, talk to us, man.
All right. So I was going to hold some of what I was going to say for a little bit later, especially with Alexia. But since the rest of the panel already came out the gate, I'm going to go ahead and add mine to it. So piggybacking off of Sean, the song that reminds me of Kai right now is I Take Your Man by Salt and Pepper. She said it with so much confidence, I take your man. And when she said it, I said, yep, that's Salt and Pepper right there. Now, in regards to Darian telling his secrets to Kai and the relationship that he has with Alexia, it also reminded me of Delilah and Samson. The same way Delilah came in real beautiful. You know, I'm sure she had a nice body, whatever was attractive to Samson. And without her having to do much of anything, Samson gave up all the tea, all the information. All she had to do was just sit and listen. And pretty much that is exactly what Kai did. She sat and she listened, and Darian gave her all the ammunition that she needed to either use against Alexia or use against Darian, plain and simple. And that can be very, very dangerous. I mean, it may not be that way right now, but that can really be very dangerous. You just went on a date with this person. You've only been on 3 dates, and you're already giving up information as if this person is entitled to the information you're giving. And I find it just strange that he's giving more information to her than he can give to Dr. Nicole. Because when Dr. Nicole was at the house, you could barely speak to her about the issues that you really have with Alexia. So in that case and in that sense, that really said enough for me concerning that Delilah and Samson situation. Now, when they were doing this go-karting and having all the fun, Darian said, oh, leaders are leading again. And I just thought that was kind of interesting for him to mention that while y'all having fun. Why you felt the need to say that leaders are leading again. So is what you're saying is this entire time you've been in this relationship or up to this point, you haven't really been leading the relationship? And Alexia is? So when she asks about this ring and asks about the marriage and asks about the kids, is that what you're alluding to? What did you really mean when you say leaders are leading again? Now, I understand, Alexia come off masculine and different things like that. However, Kai is honestly a lot more aggressive and a lot more vocal. Alexia, she, comes out of the game, not to defend her in any way, but, when she speaks at a loud tone, it's to defend herself against Darian, who clearly be on the 1,000, as Dr. Nicole said. But with Kai, her level of aggressiveness is, I know what I want. I'm going to put my foot down. Yeah, I'm going to allow you to be the man and whatever else you think that you're going to be. But I'm second to no one. And I'm pretty much running this show. So the level of aggression and maybe even slight control, the way she grabs his hand and drags him out of the door, those different behaviors, she may not be presenting right now, but she's even stronger than Alexia. So if he has a problem with Alexia of 14 years, you really finna have a problem with Kai, because she's 32 with 2 kids. She does not have time to play. She's her own, got her own business. And it kind of reminds me of Vernisha a little bit. She knows what she wants. She's not coming in here to play. So I understand, Darian is all caught up with the stars around his head, the same way Jessica said that he was. But he's not paying attention to really what's being presented before him. So that's really what I got from that. And like I said last time, Darian is planning a Batman contingency plan. So for those that don't know the character of Batman, Batman is very strategic and he has plans on top of plans. So if one fails, he has a whole nother one that will be more successful than the one that failed. Darian is planning a way out. Simple as that. He will find any excuse, any person that will help him, because in truth, he knows he says he loves her and he doesn't want to hurt her feelings, I'm sure. But if he can find a legitimate excuse to get out, he will.
Appreciate Dr. Nundi. Solid as always. Ray, talk to us, man.
How are you guys? Hope everyone is.
We're good.
Can you hear me?
Oh, we can hear you, sis.
Okay, because it sounds like a little echo on my end. How a man talks about his ex-wife, the mother of his children, his ex-girlfriend says a lot. And how he spoke of Alexia in front of Kai said a lot. And if I were Kai, that would be the utmost turnoff for me, is how he discussed his personal discussions and the personal feelings of Alexia to me. So that would have been a major, major, major red flag. And I second Doc. It is so crazy to me that she's even on the show with 2 kids. Like, coming on a show to potentially steal a man or take a man, isn't that risky? How do we know that in the end of this, that he's really going to stay with her if he chooses her? And how does that ultimately affect her 2 kids? Didn't production think about this kind of stuff? I don't know. That stood out to me a lot. Also, the way he walked into the date, he just like walked ahead of her. Talk about a bounce and a bop. He was just like, I was like, he's not into her. A new meat, she's a new piece of meat. Have you been to a pig roast where they roast the pig and they roast all different parts of the meat? She's not even the whole meat. She's just a new piece of meat. Okay, and this is why I loved how Dr. Nicole said, you know what, you guys, we're going to throw away these rules. We're going to throw away, because you know what? If you love Alexia, you will choose Alexia. And no one will come in the way of that. But I think what these dates are showing is it's showing how these guys really behave, how these women really behave in their perspective of their relationships and other people. So for example, Darian is showing us that he has the capacity or the possibility to be dating or doing something kind of out of the relationship based on how he's dating. So that is what I also noticed. I hope that makes sense, but I don't want to repeat a lot of the same stuff. But yeah, 14 years, 3 kids, 2 baby mamas, like run. Don't waste your time. Like, what are we doing here?
I hear you, Ray. I hear you. He did bop in there with a little lean and a bop in his step. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah, he just like left her.
Came in radiant.
Yes. He don't care about her.
Okay. Let me ask a question to panelists. I'm going to ask probably a different question to each individual person, maybe. So we had Alexia and obviously Darian, and they had a conversation with Dr. Nicole, and I want to ask, maybe I can ask Sean and get his perspective. Did anything that he said have a point? In fact, sorry, before the Dr. Nicole situation, I think, is this before the Dr. Nicole conversation? It is. Sorry, apologies, rewind. There's a conversation that happens before the hot and cold conversation. That is the argument that happens in the room between Alexia and Darian. And I just noticed something about Darian's behavior, and you'll see this, guys, in my review when I talk about it. The body language. He don't fight fair. And what I mean by that is that when you're arguing, you don't even give me the respect of arguing with me. Like, I'm talking to you and you're burying your head in your legs and your arms. Like, brother, you know, when I'm talking, you're laughing. When I'm talking, you're turning your face away from me. Like, you're not even giving me the basic common respect in this argument, you know, to show me face. You know what I mean? But yeah, Sean, I want to get your perspective on that particular debate that they had there in the room, because there was some couple of things that were said. One about sex, one about obviously best friends, and another thing was also about this word peace as well coming up. So did he have some points necessarily that were correct? Do you have some points that we can say, hey, look, yeah, he's got some valid points here, or was it a little bit deflecting away from the main issue?
So listen, I don't want to get, I'm not looking for no smoke from anybody across the globe. All right. But I will say that the points Darian made were valid points from my perspective as a man of things that we look for. Right. So, it's that peace. Home should be a place of peace. And wanting that intimacy, that connection, very important, right? Those are all the things that he listed. So I saw validity in that. Now, on the other side, as a man, what are you bringing to the situation to make that possible, right? And bring out the best in your mate, and being that presence as a man to make sure that happens. Right. So that's where he falls short. Now, as I watched him communicate and talk to her as they were engaging in that heated exchange, a couple of things stood out for me. So like you said, Kojo, he had his head in his hands. He was like starting to sweat. Listen, I don't have an MSW. I don't have any of that. But I think that this brother needs some help. Those are signs of anxiety. Right. So whatever is going on in his head from his past or whatever, those are signs that somebody is very anxious. Right. He could barely have a conversation with her. So those were some very concerning things. But back to the original point, he made some good points in that. Right. And then when Alexia was responding back about the concerns that she had for him, and he did this word that's another thing I get heat for. He was gaslighting her. I'll give it to you guys, right? To all the women, he was gaslighting Alexia. Okay? That's an example of gaslighting, folks, because we like to use that word a whole lot for everything. But that was an example of gaslighting, trying to convince her that something was happening that really wasn't, and vice versa, right? And just going to ride it out. So I think that at the end of the day, that was definitely, he was off with that, right? Didn't make sense. He couldn't explain where he was. He's in the studio, then he's at the apartment. He's bringing her Waffle House, but then he doesn't come back until the evening. It just doesn't make any sense. It's silliness. It's just nonsense, right, at this point. But another thing, and this is the thing with them, it's like you got to comb through all the nonsense to get through what's really there. There was another point that he did bring up, and he talked about her male friend giving her those hard eyes on Instagram. And I know a lot of the ladies going to say, that don't mean nothing. No, it means something. And if you're in a relationship, especially those opposite sex friends, you got to be careful, right? And as men, we know. We can sense when somebody else is just moving and standing back, laying in the cut, waiting for their opportunity.
Trust
the
me.
Next thing was when he mentioned it to her, do you see how visceral of a reaction she gave? She was like, no, he supports me. He's there for me. And you're not even there. So granted, he's not doing his part, but she's allowing another man to come in and fill in that gap. And that's an issue in their relationship. And however chaotic his delivery is, he's getting to that point. So that's what I saw in that exchange between those two.
I appreciate it, Sean. Yeah, and I agree with you. I do agree with you. I think there are some valid points from Darian that he did make, which I think can be explored, hopefully with Dr. Nicole. But definitely, I think you were the right word. I think it did feel like a little bit of anxiety, the way that he shuts down shuts down specifically when he can't answer. You know what I mean? All right, when he hasn't got a leg to stand on, seemingly, that's when we saw the reaction and the kind of shut down behavior from him, where his whole body language kind of just goes into this mode of, I'm just going to keep myself to myself and not express myself through my body language. So definitely agree with you on that as well. And I think good point about the reaction, because I saw that too, and I said, "God, I was acting as if he stepped on our toes." I wonder though if there's another part of that video, because that seems like it's cut. So there was obviously something else that's said before that point in time that makes that supercharged reaction. But nonetheless, she did react supercharged on that particular question about the friendship stuff. So maybe there's something greater there. And I'm not going to lie to you. A final point, if I let the ladies speak as well. Yes, that is a boundary. Okay, let me just be honest with you. I don't go into any of my boys, girls' pages and put love-struck eyes on any of their photos. It's a no-go. I'm sorry, no matter if we're friends or not, like, yo, I don't do love-struck eyes. If you're my friend and I know you're in a relationship, I know my boundary. And one of those is learning how to conduct yourself on social media. No love-struck eyes. Why am I doing that? Why would I put that there? You know what I'm saying? So I can understand that, but I would make the caveat that he only brought this up just now. Seemingly he hasn't brought this up beforehand. So it does look like it's a tactic for deflection rather than an actual genuine concern from him. But nonetheless, he did make a good point. Appreciate that, Sean. Yeah, let me get the ladies into the conversation then. Ray, let me get you involved quick. What's your thoughts, in that situation where they had a little of an argument?
I saw an interview with Kwame Brown and Alexia.
Oh, yeah.
And Alexia, it could be a possibility that Kwame is the guy she's talking about. Like, I'm sure as a basketballer, she has mad dude friends.
Hold up, let me just put this disclaimer. Kwame Brown, I do not want to smoke. So, bro, if you see this, blessings and peace to your life. You understand? Yeah, I don't want that smoke. I see what he does.
Yo, Kwame can come for me. Yo, he can give me all his mama's
Ray
cookie.
wants
I'm
all
ready.
that smoke, but I don't want none of that smoke. You know what I'm saying? Go for it, Ray.
I'm not even familiar with Kwame Brown. All I know is I saw him do this interview with Alexia, and they had a lot of energy. They had a lot of charm together. It was really great. She was very feminine. She smiled a lot. She laughed. She was happy. But she was really, really, really sad about Darian's behavior. And throughout the entire video, she questioned herself. She questioned her behavior. She questioned if she should have been upset. She would constantly ask Kwame, "What do you think about this? And what do you think about that?" And it was pretty interesting. What I'll say about Alexia is this. She talks about how she's an alpha female all the time. And I think what she's meaning by that is she has a backbone, that she's strong, that she's not a pushover, that she's not naive, that she's not stupid, she's not dumb. Because in the end, I think she does think of herself that way because she knows exactly who Darian is. She knows exactly who she is. And she knows that she's stuck. And she doesn't know how to leave, how to get out of it. And I know I say this all the time, but this is how I feel about her. And as long as he stays, she's not going to leave. And as long as Darian stays, he's not going, as long as she stays, he's not going to leave. Alexia is someone who doesn't have children. She works, so she may have some type of financial independence. She's in shape. She's great. She's just stuck. So why would he leave her? And she allows him to do the behavior that he does. So who was it that said they're placeholders? I think that's brilliant. Was that you, Brittany, the placeholder? That's exactly what it is. They're just placeholders, placemats in each other's lives. And unless something major, major, major happens, I think they're going to be together for a pretty long time. And I feel for Alexia, but here we are.
Appreciate it, Ray-Ban. Good points. Good points. Brittany, it's up.
Okay, so when it comes to Darian, I'm looking at my notes. So when it comes to Darian, like Sean was saying about the points he made, which I do agree with as well, about One Piece, which is what most men want and everything like that with all of them. But the thing I question is, you say you want 1, 2, 3, and 4, but what are you doing to pretty much add chaos to the situation? Because you want it, but you're not giving what she can respond to in order to give you what you want, right? So you're giving her reasons to feel insecure. You're coming home after, well, hours after you say you're gonna show up, right? So you tell her what she said he was gonna come home at 2:45, or be home in 45 minutes, but doesn't show up until 8. Oh yeah, you're leaving space for me to wonder what you're doing. And then you go out of town and don't tell me until you're actually out of town. Now she said it only happened once, which is, once is enough for anybody to wonder what's going on. Anytime now you say you're going to do something, but then you don't actually follow through. So that's my issue with Darian when it comes to that. And now when they're arguing, I've always said that he plays too much and he acts like a child, like Sean does as well. Sean does the same thing. But when he argues, he interrupts her, like you guys said, and he deflects as well by using his insecurities with her male friends, which I'm not saying is not wrong, because it is. She needs to tell her friends to not do that. It's not cool. It's crossing the boundary and the line. But my thing is, let's talk about the issue that was brought up first, and then we can move on to what your issue is. Because we can't keep going back and forth about how you're feeling about what I'm doing or what's happening on my end, and then go back to what it is you feel like, or what it is I feel like I have an issue with when it comes to you. We can only handle things one at a time. And when he does that, that shows me that he's guilty. He gives me signs of guilt. He keeps interrupting because he doesn't want to hear Alexia continue to explain what it is that he's doing wrong and make her hurt and make her feel insecure. He doesn't want to be accountable for that. He doesn't want to be held accountable. He doesn't want to fess up to those things. So everything he does, the interruptions and the movements and, doing all the things with his arms and everything like that, she better than me, because I couldn't do it. Like I don't even do that with my students. If you have something to say, sit there and listen to me, and then you can respond when I'm finished, right? I even deal with the same thing with my mother, because I'm learning how not to do things like that. Like, we have to sit down, listen, and listen, not to just respond. And I feel like that's what he's doing a lot. And also, Alexia keeps talking about being an alpha woman and stuff, but no alpha woman is going to sit there and take what he's doing or what it is that's happening. The alpha woman will just get up and leave and count her losses and keep it pushing. Like, just take the L, move on, and, you can get a win somewhere else. So, yeah, Alexia, like Ray was saying, and I've been saying for the past couple of weeks, like, she just does not know how to leave. She's naive to the situation. She's been with the same guy for 14 years. When you don't know how to leave somebody, you stay. And I'll agree with Ray again. They're both comfortable. And they're not going to leave. Somebody got to break it off, and I feel like it's going to be Darian. And I really, really, really want it to be Alexia, because I want to see her, like, wake up from, like, this slumber she's in, because she's not seeing it yet. But little by little, I'm starting to see her eyes open up as Dr. Nicole brings up certain points. But and maybe they might just stay together and work things out. Who knows? We don't have any say in that. But we'll see how things go. But at the end of the day, Darian has to chill out, relax, sit there and take it and fess up to what he's done. And Alexia has to wake up. End of story.
Appreciate that, Brittany. Thank you very much. Good points as always. All right. I'll definitely hear you on that about her needing to wake up. Hopefully she does wake up. We did see her walk out and stuff, but yeah, definitely interesting kind of behaviors of somebody who's an alpha, staying in a relationship that potentially, I mean, and not even just that, we obviously know he has, 2 baby mothers, 3 children, and this was all within the 14 years as well. So this is, I'm guessing that's all between the time where you guys were off, he was really off, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah. I'll let someone else go and add some more. Chris Natha, talk to me.
I saw in the chat that Delightful Being said that how does Darian want peace when he's not a peaceful person? I get that. I totally get that. Also, I get the point of feeling like you are sexually deprived, but sir, you have to create an environment in which I want to lay it down. But if you don't do what you got to do, then we have a problem. So it all starts way before it starts. Y'all know what I'm saying. So, Darian, if you would just act right, you could get it. But you're not acting right, clearly. So that is just like off the table. No, you're not supposed to withhold sex, but they're not married. So, but still, you're not supposed to use it as, a weapon. However, there's nothing sexy about him staying out. Nothing sexy about him not coming home. Nothing sexy about him keep going on these dates with Kai. I know that she really don't like that. So it's just problems on top of problems on top of problems. With their communication, I know they keep bringing up that that's one of their biggest issues. They have a lot of issues, but that is one of their issues. For example, when he did mention her relationship with her friend guy, I'd like to know more about that. What that relation's like? Is this her bestie? What his relationship is like with that guy? So I'd like to know a little bit more about that, because that can cause issues. Because the thing is, when you are looking to solve issues within your relationship, outside of your relationship, you're always going to have problems. And it seems like a little bit of that's what's going on here. I said this last time, I'll say it again. We accept some foolishness. Yes, she's stuck, but we accept some foolishness and we date people at the level of our self-esteem. And I think as Alexia really starts loving herself, as she start really getting into her more, she's going to one day be like, why am I putting up with the foolishness that is Darian, right? I really believe that. And so I think it was Brittany. I'm not sure who said it. I hope that she walks away. But yeah, I think when she starts getting more into herself, she'll start to see, listen, I can do better. I'm an awesome woman. Yes, I have some things to work on, but it's going to have to start with me letting go of what's familiar. And right now it's the Darian relationship. She wants marriage. Clearly doesn't look like it's going to happen here. And also I want her to ask herself, do I really still want that? Do I want it because I've put in my time, or do I just really, really feel like this is going to be an amazing husband? Even if he proposed tomorrow, his behavior will stay the same. And so what does it matter if I still can't get my husband to call me, my husband to come home, my husband to stop playing games? So you have to ask yourself, do I even want a ring at this point from this person? And so she definitely has a come to Jesus she's going to have with herself. And I hope that with time we can really start to see her really sit down and say, you know what? I don't even want this. I want more than this, right? And so I look forward to that.
Love that. I just want you to repeat your point about we date people according to our self-esteem. I think that's a really good point to pick up on one more time.
Oh, absolutely. We date people at the level of our self-esteem. Absolutely. I'm sure all of us can look back, think about an ex and say, what in the world? I was dating you. I invested time with you, right? But at that time, that's how we felt. That's where we were. And so, everybody, I'm encouraging you not to just date somebody according to where you are. Be with somebody who can accommodate who you're becoming.
Good points. Love that. Thank you very much, Chris and Arthur. Malaysia, talk to me.
All right, you guys. I feel like, as Dr. Nicole pointed out, the root of the reason why they even came on that show is why they have such huge communication issues. It's because at this point in their relationship, they've hit a standstill because she wants to get married within 2 years. She wants kids. She feels the type of way that he had two within the time span of the 14 years. And I feel like she feels cheated and she wants that. But like Chrysanthia said, I wonder if she's really reevaluating whether she really wants that. Do you really want that? On top of all of these issues that you guys have, do you feel like marriage is the best place for you guys to be? And that's my biggest takeaway from their to and fro, back and forth. And I also feel like when the situation gets to that point of marriage, because Darian disagrees so badly, he conflates minor issues and makes it into a big deal. He breaks down when he feels like things are not going, I suppose, the way he wants them to go in the dialogue. And it all just stems from him not wanting to marry her. According to him, she's not marriage material. Talk about a slap in the face. This woman has been with you for 14 years and you're telling her that she's not marriage material? Are you marriage material? So I just feel like it's crazy. And I've always said this about Darian. He has zero self-awareness. He sees everything everybody else does. Everybody else is doing things to him, but he doesn't really realize what he's doing to people. And I feel like that's really dangerous within a relationship setting because you are going to continue to hurt your significant other and be completely, or either he is honestly oblivious or he's doing it on purpose. But either way, it's just toxic. It's absolutely toxic. And that is my takeaway from their situation.
Appreciate that, Malaysia. Appreciate that. Chef it up for me. Chop it up for me.
Y'all bear with me because this dynamic had my brain like, really? Okay, we're going to first start off with the fact that we know that their communication is terrible. The first question was asked, what do you think we do wrong? Darren's response was, I deserve better sex. Sir, okay, you deserve better sex. How does that relate to what did we do wrong with this relationship? How did we go wrong with this relationship and stuff like that? Stay with me, sir. Please stay with me, okay? So there we already have a breakdown of communication because I say one thing and you go left field with something totally different. I need you to stay focused on everything. Darren is a word manipulator. He listens enough to find certain things that she says so he can harp on those things. So he can blow those little things out of proportion every single time, and it triggers her every single time. That's the sad part about it, because she has not realized that's what he's doing to her. I'm not going to use the word gaslighting. What Sean said. Okay, if I'm asking you so we can fix something, what are we doing wrong? And you keep going somewhere else with it. We're never going to get anywhere. It's just going to be a complete circle every single time, every single time. I ask you, how was your date? The girl smelled good. She looked like this, but it's the process. It's the process. Like, no, sir. Your communication skills is what I'm pissed off about, what the process is not happening for or whatnot. Okay, let me move on because, like I said, it had my brain like this. I'm in my notes so I can stay focused. Then Alexia says she's not turned on by him. I can see why. I wouldn't be turned on by you if you keep talking yourself out of sex. Women know who they want to have sex with. So as soon as you start talking yourself out of it, and then you don't show up to even have it, we have a problem. Like, seriously. Like, I don't get what you want from me. You want better sex, but you're not even showing up to the house to have the sex. Sir, how am I give you something that you're not in attendance for? Okay, so like, stop playing with me right now. So when all of this is not working, then we want to jump down to, okay, well, your male friends are being disrespectful. Fine, that's cool. But when you go and say, I trust you, but I don't trust them. You know why you don't trust them? Because you're afraid that they're going to give her something that you're not. They're going to show her a better version of a man than you are. That's what you're afraid of. You're not afraid of them getting in her pants because you trust her because she's not going to let them in her pants. You know this already about her. You just don't want them to show Alexia there's something better than you out there. So that's what your problem is. You want to be single in a relationship, which is absolutely crazy. You want to hold her, but go do your thing. Now, I agree with Sean. The reaction she gave to that was absolutely absurd. Ma'am, if this is just a friend, why are you so moved? Why are you so bothered? What got you to sit there and start lashing out about this friend supporting you and all this? And then it got flipped down to, well, Kai supports me. Boy, if you watch this back, as much as this woman talked about you in every single date, to every single body, she hyped you up in the intro before anybody else did. So I don't know what type of support. If I'm support, I don't know what more support you want. 14 years, 2 baby mamas, 3 kids, and none of them are me. And I'm still here trying to show you how much I'm still here, willing to stay in the dirt with you. But you're going to keep throwing the dirt in my face every single time. And love is stagnant. Why is love stagnant, sir? Love is not moving because you're not helping it along. You're doing things for her to paint pictures. You're leaving scenes. I'm going to close on this because I'm about to go. I'm going to go like this. If you make me insecure, which in this case, I see why she has reasons to be insecure. You have 2 other baby mothers within this time frame. Now, I can concur, like, maybe that, one of them we were totally off, but you have 2 kids by at least one of them. So that means you went back to that one at some point as well. You have created an insecurity within me. And you want me to fix it by myself. That's never going to work. I need your help to fix what you've done wrong, to undo what you did. I need your help to make me feel secure again about you. So if you're not willing to give that girl that help, let her go. Because all you're doing is creating a bigger wound in this heart. And that's not right. Just let her go. If you're going to stand by her side and say, I really want you, let me help you fix this. Be that man and do that. Otherwise, be the man and let that woman go, please. That's all I'm going to say because they get me bothered.
Appreciate it, Jay. No worries at all, man. It was a very thorough, again, once more, touched on different points. And I appreciate that. I appreciate it, honestly. And I'm seeing a comment section as well, and they enjoy it as well. So I appreciate it, Jay. Let me get someone else a bit of opinion on this particular part. Wait, who haven't I gone to? Dr. Nundi, have I gone to you? Dr. Nundi, have I come to you?
No,
Ah,
not yet.
talk to us about, we were talking about just the scene with Alexia and Darian, but yeah, you can flow.
Okay. So talking about Alexia and Darian, of course the communication is not there, and it was very clear when Dr. Nicole came over, and Darian clearly was not listening to anything that Dr. Nicole said, and he would not listen to what Alexia had to say as well. When you have two ears and one mouth and you decide to not use them the way that it needs to be used, that says enough about who you are. And when you, especially a man, when you have a man that overtalks you, trying to deflect the situation, of course, like Sean said, gaslight, but that also shows a level of immaturity and childishness, as Alexia said, on your part. So yeah, you can have, two, three kids and 14-year span and all this other stuff, but in that time, you did not learn to really how to be a man. You're talking more than the two women sitting in the room. And I just believe a hit dog will holler. So the things that Alexia was bringing up to you, she probably hit a nerve, and you don't want to release the truth that really needs to be released in that time. That was the perfect time and opportunity to really get whatever it was off your chest, to tell Dr. Nicole what the issues were, to hear the feedback and the wisdom piece that Dr. Nicole could give to solve the problem so you can have better communication between the two of you. But it's clear that you was not trying to really solve those problems. And you're just using it as an excuse to not do what you need to do. Now, you said, okay, y'all are not ready to get married, all of this other stuff. It's 14 years, sir. It doesn't take that long for you to really figure out what you need to do. But what Darian did say, which I hope that the next episode or two will uncover, that is the fact that he's seen in his past what the ring and a title will do to you. That says a lot in itself, because why? That means Darian has a fear of commitment. Now, in his case, not in the sense of commitment to be in a relationship, but commitment to go over that hump and get married. And because of the negative perspective that he's had, that needs to be dealt with. You do have some men, and women too, but you do have some men that are afraid to commit, whether they've seen, family members divorce, friends divorce, and, divorce can sometimes bring the worst out of people versus, you just go your own separate way. But it's something that he experienced and he saw growing up that made him develop that opinion and not want to move forward. Not just with Alexia, but with any of the women that he had children by. He gave them babies, but he did not give them a ring. So that just shows you where he really at without saying a whole lot. Now, in regards to him saying, better sex, if you really go back and look at that clip, the minute he said that, she paused in everything that she was doing in that mirror, snapped her head, and folded her arms like, please continue to say what you're going to say so I can go ahead and finish you off. Like, finish. More to come back. Real easy. The one thing that guys have to learn, and I understand because they signed the contract and they agreed to be on the show, and I know, you got to be transparent with your partner, but whether he realized it or not, that was a cut. Like, that was a deep cut for Alexia. Because when a man says, like, oh, the sex is not good, that's where insecurities for ladies come in at. Now, I'm not saying that's every lady's excuse, But that is one of the reasons why some ladies do go out here and, get the butt injections and make sure they're looking real nice and all of these things to be attractive so they can do whatever it is in that bedroom to be pleasing to that man. At the same time, he has to understand that she's not willing to give up her body to him when he doesn't come home, as some of the other panelists said. And you can't be intimate in that sense if you're never home. You're not going to be able to tell her, oh, I'm getting you Waffle House. It's 2 a.m., 2 p.m., whatever way. And then you come back 8 o'clock. That would leave some level of suspicion as to what you have going on. So between this rap career that she has witnessed in the last 14 years and whatever else, these insecurities are not just coming out the woodworks or out of thin air nowhere. It's coming from somewhere. You or something had to been done for her to continuously to say this. So, but that was a cut for her. Now, in regards to this peace component that Darian talked about, ladies have to really understand, if you come off as nagging, if you come off as fussing, if you come off, just bothersome or quarrelsome, like you're always looking for a fight. Now, I'm not saying that necessarily just for Alexia's case, but in general, if the guy that you're interested in or you're dating, and he may not be a Darian, he may actually be a good guy, but it may be you coming in and starting problems. A man doesn't want to deal with that. He does not want to deal with that. You are supposed to be his peace. When he's coming in the house, it should be a good environment for the both of you when he's coming into that house. If he's worked a job and, he had a bad day at the job, he might not want to talk about what happened at that job right now. He may just want to relax, get his thoughts together, eat some good food, and then once he has his mind cleared, then he talks. So I understand in what he said concerning the peace. Even though I am a lady myself, an exception to the rule, possibly, I understand that in regards to peace. Because if a man came fussing and all this other stuff and I done had a hard day or whatever, I'm not going to want to deal with it because I love my peace as well. So in that sense, I understood what Darren was saying, even though his delivery was not good, absolutely terrible, and he really got to go back to the drawing board concerning how he's going to deliver whatever information he's going to deliver to Alexia. The last thing that really, a couple things that really stood out also is when she said like Darian talked about her in the past. And it just made me think about like, well, what did he say about Alexia and how bad was it to the extent that she still remembers it to this day? So that means when y'all had your arguments or whatever it is, you either went to family members, friends, or social media and you talk bad about her in a way that she disapproves of. And that is another reason when you having arguments, if you go to social media, if you go to people, that don't even know the two of you and you're doing all this talking, a woman is not going to want to sleep with you, not be with you in no way, shape, or form because you out here dogging her out. Now, I don't know what all he said, but she did make that comment, which let me know, okay, he's used to doing that type of behavior, which is not good. Another thing that Darian did say as well, when he was going back and forth with her, he said, talking about your assumptions of your guilty conscience. Now, that could have been a deflection, just something he said to be petty. But after he said that, she did mention the whole, the guy that supports her and is there for her. What that says to me, for the last 14 years, Alexia has been with this man when he was field mob, all this other good grand stuff. But when it came to her career and whatever she wanted to do, Darian was clearly not there. And whomever she's entertaining online, that's what she's looking into. But see, I got a bone to pick with her on that, because why? If this man supports you and this man is for you and all this extra stuff that you did, say, why you still in a 14-year relationship with this man? Why you have not left yet? It's clear that Darren is not showing you what you want or what you need, but this other man is. And before you get accused of cheating, it's best for you to just say, thank you, Darian, for your time, but I think I'm going to go elsewhere, and do it that way. Versus you trying to have your cake and eat it too, like you Trey Songz, and that's not the case at all. You're not going to be able to hold on to somebody, hoping and wishing, praying, and whatever else you're trying to do. This man is showing you, I'm not finna give you a ring. So you need to wake up from this level of delusion that you in and this fantasy that you in, and you need to go ahead and move along. If this man is for you or whatever, then maybe that need to be what you need to look at. But it is time out for ladies, men too, but ladies, holding on to people who don't want to be held on to. He done told you several times what the game plan is. He going on multiple dates with Kai, and you still refuse to wake up to see what it is. Warning comes before destruction. And and it's clear this is what's happening for you. But that's my spiel with Alexia and Darren. I hope they get together or they depart from each other.
Appreciate it, Dr. Lee. Appreciate it. Surgical as always. Man, it's a lot, Alexis and Darian as well, isn't it? I guess I'll get everybody just to kind of give like 2-minute responses on, I guess, the last bit, which was, I guess, the Dr. Nicole situation and the walking out. You can choose which one you want to address in terms of your response. I just want 2-minute response from everybody. Actually, wait, has everybody spoken about this part, actually, this section? I think everybody has, hasn't it? Yeah, just 2-minute responses for everybody on this section, and get your response on... Malaysia, have I come to you? I came to you earlier on, didn't I? Ray, is it you who I missed out? Did I miss somebody out?
Responses on what did you say?
I think he went to everyone.
I want to everybody. Okay, cool. So this section, I just wanted to get 2-minute responses from everybody in regards to either Dr. Nicole conversation with Darian and Alexia, or choose the fact that Alexia walked out and address it. Do you know what I'm saying? So you can choose either one of the two. 2-minute responses from everybody, and then we move on to the next couple. You understand? Yeah. So since you got your mic open,
starting
Malaysia,
with what?
go for it. You got your mic open.
Melissa,
oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Thank you.
All right,
Thank you, Melissa. I will get it one day.
So I want to talk mostly about the conversation that Dr. Nicole spoke about, the root being the fact that, well, she didn't see that specifically. She noted that what was the root of the disagreements, and they stated that it was because of marriage, and he's stating that she's not marriage material because they're having so many disagreements. And I'm thinking, could it be that Alexia's defense mechanism is to go to her, I suppose, masculine energy when she is arguing with him, and that in turn makes him feel, or makes him kind of break down, or to like fade into himself because he doesn't want to do it. Maybe that's why he appreciated Kai, because he mentions Kai's femininity. At the end of the day, it is all excuses. So it's like, whether he's saying Kai's doing this and Alexia is not doing that, it's just all excuses. When Alexia walked out, I felt like it was just built up frustration. We see how their interactions are. Every time she tries to, get her points across with him, it's always like, because he starts at 1,000, it's difficult to get beyond that and just to speak like adults that can communicate. And I feel like she's just gotten to a point where she feels like it's just too disrespectful at this point. You're gonna keep going on dates with Kai. You barely know Kai. You're telling Kai all your business with Alexia. You're saying things that are may or may not be true about Alexia being intimidated by Kai. Even when Alexia walks out, this man goes and says, "What's your problem with this girl? My goodness, this man just, I don't know, like I can't even speak properly because I'm not understanding where he's coming from with that." She is upset because you want to take Kai out on a date. Her issue is not with Kai. You're the one choosing to go on another date with Kai. So why is it now? It's almost like he's throwing all the blame on Kai. So he's initially off the bat, "Oh, what's your problem with Kai?" Because Kai is another person he could throw blame on, but really and truly, the blame is on him. It's like every time the blame is on him, his thing is to just throw it on somebody else, throw it on anything, throw it on a wall, throw it on a dog, throw it on a cat, throw it on anything but himself. And it's just so annoying. Why is he doing
10
that?
seconds.
I just can't deal with this man. So yeah, that's me. I'm done.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Let me get a response. Sorry, listen, guys. Listen, there's a little mouse in this place, yeah. And listen, I'm a little bit distracted right now. But man's fighting. Blood, these things are trying to come from man fam right now. It's mad out here. All right, Ray, go for it, please.
Did you say a mouse?
Yeah, a mouse, isn't it? Because it's what happens. If you open the back door open, this is what happens. You leave the back door open, you see a mouse, and the mouse keeps trying to tease me. It comes to the edge of the seat. I see it. It sees me. But don't worry, we got some traps ready for it. His ass gonna be cooked tonight. Okay?
Oh, you better than me,
Ray.
Kojo. You better than me.
Go for it.
This is what I'll say about Alexia. I mean, I really don't think that this guy that Darian is talking about, she's into or that she has a relationship with. I think when she talks about that, he gives her support. It's someone that she may consider a brother, a ball player, or dudes that she plays with, people that she trusts to that extent. I don't think it's, even if he may have feelings towards her, I don't think that Alexia is operating in that space, which is why she's having such a difficult time, and which is why she walked out when he decided to go on that fourth date with Kai. What's difficult about it, and I think Dr. Nicole made a great point, is a relationship is like a canvas. If the canvas is blank, you have to be clear in the colors that you use to paint that picture. And I don't think Darian has the facilities or the resources or even the upbringing to really paint a clear picture. Does he even know what a clear picture of his life is? And I don't care what anyone says. He has 3 children with 2 baby mothers in 14 years. And I think Alexia walking out too is her feeling frustrated with herself and feeling like she's looking dumb and stupid and made fun of on TV. So I feel for her. I wish her the best, and we'll see what happens.
Appreciate it. Thank you much, Ray. Thank you. Krishnatha, talk to us.
With Alexia walking out, she was frustrated. Yeah, we could say we wish that she sat there and continued the conversation. But also, Darian is really, I don't know if he's just purposely just trying to hurt her. Like, even in your wording, I know this is an experiment, and I know that you have to go on dates, but like, man, she's uncomfortable. It's almost like you're rubbing this in her face when he says, Dr. Nicole asks, can you see yourself being with Kai? Oh, if it was before I met Alexia, sure, or easy, right? So like, that's easy. He enjoyed time with her. He just kind of keeps, it's okay to enjoy the date, but you also know how your partner feels. I'm not saying be like Laronda and don't share your feelings out of fear of your partner, but there just has to be a respect level. And I feel like he's just trying to push her buttons and kind of put this in her face. So she walked out. I hope that is a foreshadowing of what happens in the relationship, because she just needs to move on.
Totally hear that. Totally hear that. Totally hear that. Chef J, talk to us, man.
I'm glad Chris brought that out. Alexia's mentioning that Darian's connection with Kai is so easy. It seems like their relationship started off easy as well. They were kissing and within 25 to 20 minutes, according to them. You know, that's easy. Him having kids with 2 other women seems to be easy. Him having access to Alexia every time he wants to is easy. They seem to forget about everything that goes wrong as soon as he gives her a little bit of what she wants, i.e. the conversation that they had after Dr. Nicole was with them. She got to dive into what happened to that All-Star weekend or whatnot, even though the excuse he gave, he fell asleep, still didn't make no sense. You fell asleep where? But, you know, she wanted to eat. It was easy that she let it go. You know, so it's just like.
Would you have let it go if you find out your man tells you he said he was gonna get some, what is it, waffles at 2 a.m. and then turns up at whatever time he turned up, it was well late than the time he said.
First of all, I'm a hangry type of person, so if you leave me hanging with my food, no, ain't nothing being let go, because I've been got in the car and came to the Waffle House to try to find you. Okay, but that's just me because I don't play with my food now. But you know, like I don't, you know, I'm trying to have compassion for Alexia, but it's going on too long. You know, I get that 10 years, 6 of it you were overseas, 4 of it you were in college. You know, you're off and on here and there. Clearly, he got baby mamas and you were dating other people. The last 4 years, now you're serious, you're focused, you have nothing else to focus on or whatever, so you're focused on this man. It would have took me 1 year, really, to figure out he ain't ish. Not husband material, not even baby daddy material. And at that point, I would have addressed you. Want to sit there and say you don't want to be another one of the baby mamas, but being married to him does not mean that you're not going to end up still just being one of the baby mamas. If he's acting single in a relationship, dating, you think he's not going to act single in a marriage? Come on, man. Stop playing. Like, if he's not ready for commitment, you need to go down that lane and figure out why he's not ready for commitment. And you yourself, you said you weren't ready. So therefore, I see where the initial bond came from, but you started hanging around people that are married, got kids now, and you want these things. This man still doesn't hang around those type of people. He don't want these things.
Last 10 seconds, Jay.
Go find you another man, sis. Let that man go.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Chef Jay. Appreciate it. Dr. Nundi.
Okay. So Darian said that people are stuck in these stagnant situations because of love. And Alexia mentioned that Darian is childish. So I want to leave the both of them, as well as anybody in their situation, with this scripture, which is 1 Corinthians 13, 4 through 7, as well as 1 Corinthians 13, 11 through 13. And it says, love suffers long and is kind. Love does not envy. Love does not parade itself. It is not puffed up. It does not behave rudely, nor does it seek its own. It is not provoked, thinks no evil, does not rejoice in iniquity, but rejoice in the truth, bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. And then it says, when I was a child, I spoke as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. For now we see in a mirror dimly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, but then I shall know, just as I also am known. And now abide faith, hope, and love, these 3, but the greatest of these is love. This is not to get confused with lust. This is not to get confused with entanglements, with some of the things we are seeing with these 2. And they must know, as well as all of us must know, that love, even though it is a noun, is also a verb. It's an action word. So it requires you to put in your time. It requires you to do a lot of different things you may or may not be used to. And if you are not willing to put away your childish ways, if you are not willing to properly communicate as two adults, two human beings before a counselor, then you need to separate yourself from that relationship, because in the end, all it will be is destruction and toxicity.
Appreciate that, doesn't indeed. Good verse as always. 1 Corinthians 13, right? Love, yeah. I love that scripture, man. Good vibes. Good vibes. Yeah. That is not an excuse for entanglement. You're absolutely right. It's definitely not. You know what I'm saying? Right? Guys, if you see me looking away, I'm just monitoring the situation out here, okay? Appreciate you. Brittany, go for it. He's a double-minded man. He's unstable in all his ways. You know what I'm saying? Go for it, Brittany. Go for it.
Okay. So here's the thing with Alexis and the walking away. So I wrote down some things. Now, first of all, we got to give her some grace, because she's been with this man since she was 20. Like I've been saying, she does not know how to leave. Let go of some of that pressure up off her, because she's learning right now. Regardless of how old she is learning. And she's coming from being with him from 20 years old to now being 32. That is going to take some time. So with her walking away, I feel like that's the start of her being ready to leave and being at her wit's end. This is now something that's starting to click, because what Dr. Nicole is saying and the observations she's making and the arguments they're having a lot of the times is starting to actually open her eyes, because she has Dr. Nicole there as support to show her and give her confirmation of what has actually been happening throughout their relationship. And also, God always allows us to be in situations for a certain amount of time, right? And I feel like this is going to be the situation that is going to help Alexia get out of just being in different situations with guys after this relationship is over. Well, this is more of a situationship. But once the situation is done, she will know how to conduct herself with other men as she continues to date. And she'll know how to actually walk away and stay away for good. So yes, that walk away was frustration, built up frustration, but she's definitely going to go back. And ladies, how it is, we always go back until we finally sit down, ponder on everything, reevaluate everything after it continues to keep building up. And then we'll realize, okay, now it's time to go, because you're realizing the damage you've done to yourself and to the other person. And it's just like, this is a means to an end at this point. Something has got to give. And hopefully she's the one that is the one that walks away. And here's the other thing I'm seeing, ladies. We have a lot of power in the situation. The only reason why Darian and her are still together is because she will not walk away. Once she walks away, just because of the circumstances, this will be done and over with. And once she realizes that, things will be so much better for the both of them. And they both need individual therapy. And as she continues to walk away, she needs to continue to see a therapist to give her the support she needs to show that the changes that she's making are actually doing her some good. And once you continue to keep going back to the same space that you've been in, none of the changes that you've made are going to stick. So she needs to have that continued support to help her keep it a habit. When you walk away, stay away. And she's going to learn how to put herself first from this very situation. So just give her some time. She's going to come to her senses. It might not be while she's on the show and while we're watching her, but at some point she will get it. Sometimes it takes longer for others to figure things out. So I really feel like we got to let up on her just a little bit, because she doesn't know any better. She's naive. I mean, as bad as that word may sound, but it's the truth. She has to continue to see it, and someone has to continue to bring up the situation to her, because she's not going to see it for herself. And in this situation, this is the best thing that could have happened to her and Darian, because they both need some help. in regards to their emotions and learning how to put themselves first. And last thing, God has definitely been blocking some situations for her, because she is so lucky she is not with child with that man, because then she will be stuck with him forever. And yeah, that's it.
Appreciate that. Good points. Yeah, good points. Yeah, if she had a child with him, let's just call it a day. It would be wrapped and stocked and finished. You know what I'm saying? Children are a blessing, but it does tie you to that person forever. Sean, hit us with something, bro.
So, so her walking out, let's go there, right? And a lot of the other panelists made some excellent points. But to me, I just see that as another failed attempt to get his attention, to get her to chase him, right? And not a real wanting to be out of the situation, right? So time's up for her. And I'm sorry. I think she has some great qualities, but she stayed in this relationship too long. And we got to hold her accountable, right? It's not going to always sound pretty, look pretty, but that's how people stay in these situations too long, because when their friends and family and loved ones don't just have these honest conversations, combined with them not being willing to listen, right? Is she willing to listen? Is she willing to hear sound advice to get out of this situation, right? And I don't see that from her. Unfortunately, I see a lot of bravado, a lot of her talking about how alpha she is because of her athleticism, which is great. That's phenomenal. But what is really important? Where is the substance? What are you looking for? What are you hanging around for 14 years for? These are the questions that we all have to ask ourselves when we're in a situation that's not getting us the outcomes that we desire. What am I doing wrong, right? Of course, you can point out every single flaw in Darian, and we can see it. He's a mess, right? He needs help. We got that. But why is she invested in this relationship for so long? What's keeping her there? Why can't she see the value in herself enough to get out of it? What is she gaining from this situation? And these are questions that only Alexia really has the answers for. But what I see from her, and even if you think about the dates that she went on, every time anyone asked her a question, who are you? What do you like to do? She's very defensive. So she's built up that defense for some reason. So she needs to go figure herself out, get healed, and stop looking for Darian to do something that, one, he's not going to do, and two, if he were to do, would be stage 5 level destruction for the both of them. And I'll turn it back to you, Kojo.
The way you ended that stage 5 destruction. Oh man, Sean, you be saying the best lines, man. Yeah, I'm hearing what everyone said. You know what I mean? It's actually interesting because I think someone mentioned it, but just quickly, the point about, and I put it in my notes, that how, and this is where I think they've got a bigger problem. How is Darian ready to have kids but not ready to marry? I'm sorry, how does that work? How are you ready to have kids and you want to give her, I'll give you kids, but you're not ready to marry because you've seen a ring destroy? I think that's the bigger issue. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're acting as if kids don't need the commitment from the parents involved. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're not out here just trying to have kids for the sake of having kids. Do you know what I'm saying? We want to be bringing them into more stable environments. And hopefully ones where the parents are in love and a loving environment. So when he said that, I said, wait, hold a minute. You want to bring kids, but you don't want to get married. Just admit, sir, that you don't want this woman. It's okay. You know what I mean? Like, you're basically saying you don't want this woman at all. You know what I'm saying? And that's cool. Maybe you've reached your end. Maybe your time and season has come. I think this is a really good lesson for any ladies out there, because this is the second time we've seen this on this show now, with a lengthy period of time, where if you're looking for marriage, this is what you're looking for. You really need to be assessing this early on in the relationship. Okay? I know they had breaks in between, but it still doesn't stop the time limit from going forward. Like, when they got back together again now for the 3-4 years, where is that urgency? You know, where is that, hey, this is my destination. This is where I want to go to. Are you down for it? Yes, no. If you're not, fantastic. Leave him alone. Right? You gotta get used to asking these direct questions when you realize that this is not going the way you want it to go. You have to ask that direct question, so that the person can also give you a direct answer. Why? Because many of us men who've done it before in the past love to dance in the grey. If you don't say it, well, hey, I'm gonna roll with it, as long as I can until the wheels fall off. Do you know what I'm saying? That's what Darwin has essentially done with Alexia. All right, cool. Let's move on to the next couple. We had Jessica, we had Eric. I like them. I do like them. I do. Eric's honesty is refreshing. It's just, bruh, sometimes the way you say certain things, it just grinds my gears a little bit, man. Basically he said that her advice was trash. You understand? He basically said that advice was trash. He basically did say that when I asked you, I don't know why I asked you, because you're just gonna say the things I've already thought of. And I think what he really means, this is me speculating, but it's what he really means. It's not an intelligent response enough for me. For him. I'm not saying for anyone in general. For him. Right? The response that she's giving is not necessarily bad. I think he has a certain standard or level that he's expecting, that he's requiring, and he's not getting that from her response. But more fool, he's the one that chose her. You know what I'm saying? You chose this woman, knowing what she was, and if you don't want her no more, sir, send her away so she can go and have somebody who will love her and care for her. Look at Clarence out there, all touching on abs and everything. Anyway, let me get a panel on, and they can maybe touch on some things other than abs. All right, cool. Sorry, I'm just this mouse out here, but listen, it be testing me, man. It be coming to the edge, and then it be looking at me, and then I have to stamp my foot down. Okay, cool. Let's get over it. GSINAPOD, let me get you there. Go first. What's your thoughts around obviously Jessica and Eric? Eric, again, like I said, I like them, but you may have a different opinion. What's your thoughts on the couple and them on this particular episode?
With Jessica and Eric, he mentioned last episode that he had an amazing, one of the best or the best conversation he's ever had with his date, because he's looking for deeper conversation. And then he says that what Jessica usually shares with him is useless. That was a tough word, because I'm sure all she heard was the word useless, which is, man, that was it hurt my feelings, right? And it's like, it seems as though Eric wants depth. He wants depth, but he doesn't feel like Jessica has the capacity to give him depth. And I think that's what he's trying to say, but we all know his delivery is not smooth, it's not soft, it's not gentle. And so I think that's what he's trying to say. But like Kojo, like you mentioned, he chose Jessica. It's been 3 or 4 years at this point. And when did you realize she is not a deep person, right? Because we know that there are people that just aren't as deep as we would like them to be. And if that is important to you, which is okay, that is something that you have to ask yourself, is this a non-negotiable? Is this something that I need, right? And if it's what you need, then you don't move in. Then you don't spend 3-4 years, right? And because it's like she's never going to amount to the woman that he wants in a way. She's gorgeous. Okay, Jessica is beautiful, but it seems as though she will never amount to Eric, never amount to the woman that he wants. And if that's the case, he needs to have a very serious conversation, because I don't think she's fully clear about what he needs and that she's not it. I don't think that's clear to her. It's just that he comes with these really harsh ways of expressing himself, and then she's really sensitive and she breaks down. So, but I think that's what's going on. He wants more than just, I guess, her being extremely beautiful. However, you chose her. You moved her in. So naturally, she's thinking, when's the next step? I want my ring, right? And it looks like he may not be giving it to her. It looks that way. And if that's the case, have an honest conversation. Have an honest conversation, because at this point, this girl wants to be married. So if it's not you, allow her to grow and then eventually meet somebody else. So.
Thank you very much, Chris Natha. Let me get Ray on. Ray, talk to me. Oh, you're on silent. You're mute.
Yes, Eric. You know, he says she states the same thing that he's already thinking, but that it's useless. So is the same thing so is his original thought also useless, or is he saying it's useless because she had the same thought as him? This so confuses me.
Wait, Ray, say that again, because I didn't clock that. That's a bar. I actually just dropped. Say that again. That's a bar.
Did I?
No,
Did
it
I
really
drop a
is.
bar?
If you deep it, what you just said is absolutely magnificent. Just drop it again.
I don't remember what I said though.
Just those few seconds. I just need to go back. Yo, it made so much sense. Just say that last bar again.
I don't know. The spirit was on me. I don't know what I said.
Yo, you were talking about the fact that obviously if he just said that her thoughts
exactly.
It's useless, but it's the same as his.
Useless, right? He's saying her thoughts are useless, but her thoughts are the same thoughts as his thoughts. So does that then make his original thoughts useless too? See, this is how I know he lacks depth, but he wants depth. How you want depth, but you lack depth? It's like I wanna get into the deep end, but do you know how to swim? Really? This is what bothers me about Eric. However, I like Eric. He's smart. He's rough around the edges, but he's gonna get it because I believe he loves Jessica. I believe Jessica loves him, but he has to humble himself, understand that he's not as deep as he is. Hopefully he'll learn that along the way and give Jessica a chance, because there's something in the Bible that talks about confirmation. And I oftentimes speak to my friends to get that confirmation. And the Bible says that when it comes to 3, that's a confirmation. So I'll talk to this one, and this one. And if everyone says the same thing, it's not useless. It's a confirmation. I'll leave it at that.
Appreciate it, Ray. Boss. Brittany, what are you saying?
I'll start off with what Ray was saying about confirmation, because that was one of my points too. Because when God talks to me, and I feel like it's the same thing for most people, if something is continuously repeating in your mind and in your heart, that means you need to do it, right? Maybe I could be wrong, but for me, if I don't act on that thing that is being told to me many times, then I miss out on something. So therefore, I think Jessica is his confirmation, but he don't want to take it because it's not enough for him, right? So that's my one thing right there. Now with Jessica, she had a chance to be vulnerable when she was on her date with Eric, when they were sitting down and talking, and he was asking her about her situation with Eric, but she chose to run away, and they ended the date right there. Now for me, that shows that Jessica needs to learn how to be real with herself. And once she can do that, she can then be, I guess, I'm trying to say this right, be as deep as Eric would like for her to be. Like I said last week, vulnerability takes time. Like that's not something you would just do right out the gate. That's something that you have to teach yourself how to do. It's a habit. It is something that you have to continuously choose to do if you want to build some type of trust with someone and with yourself. And I don't think she trusts herself either, to an extent. I don't know her like that, but just based off of what I've been seeing, she has to learn how to trust herself as well. Same with Eric, because they both have the same issues to me. And they just need to, I feel like I said before, they need to go to therapy individually, because there's some things that need to be worked out for sure. Let me see, what else did I write down? Oh, yes. Okay, so when Eric we all said that his delivery, he just has to learn how to, what's the word I'm looking for? Just convey what he is trying to say in a different way. Because when he said she was useless, that's all I heard too. And that hurt my feelings. And I was like, I don't think she's useless. It's just that you're not seeing the value that she does bring to you. But like I said before, it's not enough for him. So therefore, why are you still with her? If what she is giving you is not enough for you. It's okay to walk away from somebody if they're not giving you everything you feel like you need. So once again, that comes back to the actual person who is looking for that thing, which is Eric. You might need to spend some time alone and be by yourself to figure out and pinpoint what exactly it is. Date other people. Don't be so shallow either, because you might just find what you want in somebody you didn't even know you would like in the first place. Like the girl he went on a date with last week. She's not even ugly to me or anything like that. She's gorgeous, but unfortunately, she's not his type. And that's a mindset thing. Again, he has to come out of the mindset that he is in, come out of the mindset he's in and grow up a little more, because he's not playing football anymore. Like, your mindset has to level up with where you want to go in life. And he wants depth. Depth takes a lot more than looks. So you know, he has to really sit down and take some time to think about some things. But I like that both of them are definitely trying with this process and really trying to understand themselves, yet at the same time, you know, work themselves out as a couple. But I think it's going to take them not being together to understand themselves first and then come back and be together. It's okay to take a break too, if you both have that understanding and want to be on the same page about it. So yeah, that's pretty much my thing. Yeah, Eric just got to get this delivery together, because I don't like it.
I hear you on that. Let me ask Sean. I mean, is there? Do you know what? I do feel for Eric, because I've been in a situation where the person wasn't giving me that depth. You know what I'm saying? And I stayed longer than I needed to, because the sex was fire. I'm just gonna keep it open. It's the real spit. But does he have a case? Because obviously, like, you know, he didn't start off that way. He didn't start off wanting depth. So, I mean, can he now just all of a sudden in between the relationship now switch and expect that to happen?
Yeah, I think you find this happening in relationships all the time, where people evolve and people change, and what they thought they wanted in the very beginning shifts gears, right? But in order to pivot and navigate that effectively, you got to have the open dialogue, right? You got to have that conversation with your partner and seeing if, you know, in this instance, if Jessica is able to give him what he's looking for, and then vice versa. And I think that's the point where they are on the show, and they seem to have a playful banter with each other. It can work out. I don't know. Unfortunately, what I see from Jessica is she's another one that, you know, when somebody tells you what they want and then you tell them, your response is, well, I thought I did. And, but I was doing, and this is what, I mean, I thought our conversations were always. Well, no, hun, because if he's telling you that, that's not what he's getting. So you then need to ask the questions. What do you think is depth? How can I be that? Now, my question with Eric is he just moving the goalposts? Is he just creating something that he knows that she's not going to be able to step up to the plate to do, so that he does not have to marry her, right? I think that I'm feeling that a little bit. I need to see a little more. But if you in your heart know, because he's used the word useless, his level of communication, I'm a dude that it really doesn't bother me. I do know that you have to tone it down when you're talking to a woman, but I just don't see that he's been outright rude to her. And he's always gone that second step to try to give examples of what he means when he says what he means. And he said, not necessarily useless, but you're saying something that's already been said, right? So let's go through that. Let's process it. Let's dig in a little bit more. Let's not get so caught up in the words. He's not screaming at her. He's not a Darian. He's not carrying on. He's not a Sean crying and vomiting all over the place. He's telling you what he thinks. And you want to change the way this man communicates? lot of women, I hear that often. I want a man that can communicate. I want a man that can talk to me. He's talking to you. He's telling you. It may not be packaged all pretty with a bow the way you want it, but what is he saying? Are you trying to hear the message? Or are you just so caught up in whatever he says? The minute he walked in from that date, he just went to give her a kiss, and she was like, no, I don't want no kiss. Get away from me. You look too happy. Like, come on. You know, like if we're always met with such resistance and we can't ever do anything right, and it's always going to have to be where you got to say it just this really, really pretty way so that it rings true to your ears. I mean, that's not realistic. People don't talk that way. You know, are we expecting more of him? And is he expecting more of her? That's my question about those two.
I hear that, Sean. Appreciate that. Let me ask you a question. Would it? I personally think he's very direct, but I think his word choice is off, and that is gonna cause issue. Like the word useless, I'll be honest with you, is ridiculous. Yeah, because what in a sense you're saying is she's of no use at all. The gravity of the word actually is quite heavy. Like I would never say to any of you guys here, your point was useless, because that would be meaning that you actually added nothing at all to the conversation. I'm not saying, I agree with you though, that us men are very much more direct when we want to say things. And sometimes we actually do need to just be like that's what it is. But is that something that is a little bit, because this is not the first time that he's used a word, which is, I would say, like I've never heard you say, bro, the women are useless on this panel. You've never said that. You would never say that. Because that would be derogative, right?
And I don't feel that way.
Yeah, I know you don't feel well. You don't want that smoke, girls. And I don't mean, but you know what I mean? Like you would never say that about anybody. Do you know what I'm saying? Using that word,
right?
Let alone your partner. Do you see what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying about that part. I actually agree with you there. I think we should be celebrating more directness, especially as men. We need to be more direct. But maybe the wording. I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about that, but let me give you the chance to respond to that. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely bring up a good point, right? We can choose our words better, and what I would say is, hopefully, this process will help them to do that better, right? Because communication and relationships is just tricky to start with, right? So if you're using words that trigger people and makes them feel insecure, you need to be conscious of that. And I think he's smart enough to know, like, let me choose a better word. Let me think about this before I just hit her with this information, knowing that it could be something that is going to be a little touchy for her, right? So I can understand that point, and I could definitely acknowledge his word choices could be better, right? And I'm hoping that Dr. Nicole will work through this with them and help them to be able to better communicate, more effectively communicate. Because I think that's the point, right? With communication is not so much as me saying words that you understand, but we're able to understand each other and navigate through a challenge effectively without one person feeling attacked. And that's what I think is happening here.
Why do you, let me ask one last question before I send it over. Why do you think there's been that change for Eric, though? Why do you think that Eric's had that change specifically? I know why maybe in relationships it changes, but why do you think, why do you think Eric has suddenly shifted?
So it could be two things. And the one is what I alluded to in the beginning, is that he really doesn't want to get married. So he's setting up a set of criteria that he knows Jessica's not going to meet. So that's one. I don't know enough to say if it's exactly that, but that's one. Or two, it's maybe he's really starting to consider her seriously, and wants to build a family and a life and marry her. And he knows that there's certain things that he's going to need from his wife. And one of those things is to be able to, okay, so if we're going to be in this marriage together, we got to be able to work through challenges. You got to be able to give me some ideas about things that are going to help, build our relationship. And if he's not seeing that or the capability of her to really do that 100%, then that could be a question in his mind.
Appreciate it, bro. Sound. Let me. Oh, sorry, someone in the background. Yes, sis. How you doing? Do you know what, your name's gone out of my head again? You know, I'm not gonna lie to you, freaking hell, coach. I need to get this right. Do you know what? I'm distracted. The mouse has got me. That's my excuse today. I've got an excuse today. That's it. But oh my gosh, let me try and get it right. Melissa. Uh, someone save me. Melissa, thank you. Boy, I will get it right, I promise you. It's just taking a little bit more time than usual. Melissa. Oh man, me and names, bro. Okay, Melissa, if I can get your viewpoints, I know you've been trying to get in, and it's been. Oh, I'll get the name right, and she ends up disappearing, guys. Okay, cool. Dr. Nundi. Wait, who haven't gone? Have I skipped somebody? Dr. Nundi, I haven't asked you yet. Yeah. Jericho, Jericho, Jessica, and Eric. Yo, this basketball just combobulated, guys.
So talking about Jessica and Eric, when you say the word useless, other synonyms for that is pointless, fruitless, hopeless. Those are really deep negative connotations. And for a man to say that to his woman, that can easily create an insecurity in her automatically. Just because, she's trying to figure out how to solve the problem in their relationship. And so when you say something of that caliber with the words that you use, that can easily make a woman shut down and not really do anything else concerning that relationship when you say, it's pointless or it's useless. So it would have been really nice if he would have had some more grace and gentleness on his words concerning her, because she is sensitive and she is, more feminine than some of the other ladies. So when you're dealing with that type of character in a lady, you can't come off as rah, rah, rah. It is what it is. You can't, just because of who they are. You just have to come with a level of gentleness and grace. And that was one of the reasons why she kept pointing out in Clarence, just to mention him, because she said, like, he's a gentleman. The way that, he spoke to her and how he was caring for her, it was real gentle. So sometimes, you have to be able to give a level of gentleness with certain people, depending on who they are. Also with that, she did make the comment when they were in the vehicle, she likes Clarence because he picks her brain. And I kind of thought that was a little bit of an oxymoron, because he wants depth, but you want somebody to pick your brain. That kind of just threw me off, because I'm like, okay, well, where did that really come from? Because this entire time, I mean, she mentioned it a little bit, but this entire time it's been mostly, your appearance and whatever it is that Eric was looking for when y'all first got together. Now, with Eric, my thing with him is, she can't, whatever she says or whatever, it can't be too useless, because you saw some type of value in her when you decided to DM her, and you decided to date her, and you decided to be with her. So she can't be as useless as you say that she is. So, and if, he is changing, like Dr. Nicole, she did say that, when you get in relationships, you need to leave room for the parties to change and to grow, which is very true. But they can really come up with a solution to their problem versus, Eric being frustrated and just blurting things out in the way that he did. I mean, you can easily do a game night at the house and get some of those, question and answer type of games that they be having, and see if that will open up a door for them to reach the level of depth that Eric is looking for. I don't know, something, but to just flat out say that she's useless and all this other stuff, not good to say at all. Because with Jessica, all it's going to do is make her shut down and cry, and they're not going to get anywhere. if that just continues. So Eric got to find a better way to communicate. But Jessica can't. She can't get offended at everything that Eric says, because there was a point that Eric was trying to express himself, trying to be clear with what he was saying, and she took it as a negative. She took it as an offense, and she started boohooing, crying. I mean, you can have it where God straight up lie to you, never tell you the truth, in in the way that he tried the best that he could, but you go out here and you crying, that make a man not want to say nothing else, because at that point he may feel like he's walking on eggshells with you, and he don't know what is the right word to really say to you, and he may not want to say nothing at all. So it has to be a balance in that, and you got to see what can be fixed versus what you need to do versus what he need to do. He need to come with a better level of grace and gentleness in his speech, as of course Colossians 4:6 talks about that. Let your speech at all times be gracious and pleasant, seasoned with salt, so that when you how to answer each answer with the question. So he needs to be a little more gracious and pleasant in his speech. But Jessica needs to hear him out to see what his issue is, and they both need to come together with a consensus on how to solve their problem. So that's my speech.
Solid points, Dottie. Solid points. And I'm gonna go to Chef Jay in a second. It's interesting, I think, watching the Jessica and Eric, because I think his communication skills sometimes are a little bit off in terms of delivery. And I do think sometimes she can be very sensitive. I think when he did try to talk to her after the date and let her know certain things, she didn't really want to hear it. Also, what's really interesting, and I think someone put in the comment chat, and I noticed it on the date, she was wanting to ask about Clarence's ex-wife, but the moment he asked about her date, about her and Eric, she shut it all the way down and actually said, I don't like that. And I was like, wait, what? So you get to ask somebody about their ex-wife a tattoo, and you ran to the mats to have this conversation, but you didn't want to open yourself up to open up yourself to this kind of conversation. So you want it to be one-sided, And I was a little bit perturbed by that. I said, sis, you can't be doing that. Do you know what I'm saying? You can't be asking for openness, and yourself is not open. But Chef Jay, take it away a little bit.
Yeah, I definitely was about to mention that part or whatever. So I'm glad you opened that up for me, because I felt that quite odd. That when you're saying that he likes to pick your brain, and you're trying to be more open, and you're trying to have depth, and he's with you because of your mind or whatnot. But then as soon as that question is posed, you go back to a superficial behavior, which is, that's too much for me, so I'm not about to answer that. And it was simple. It was a simple question. Why he's not choosing to marry you? So there leads me to believe there's something else there that she doesn't want to admit, that she knows why he doesn't want to marry her just yet and stuff. So, but we're going to go back, because I know everybody's on Eric's head about the ending, how he ended it or whatnot. But like I said, she in the car, you're having a conversation about other people. You'll talk about other people's issues and that stuff like that. And when it comes to your issues, you won't question it. You won't talk about it. You won't do anything. So you're talking about, I'm going to say, assume it's Sean and Laronda's situation while you're talking about insecurities. Then you went over to talking about being jealous and all of this stuff. Yet every chance you get, you're trying to make Eric jealous. You're using your body, you're using what you wear and all this stuff like that. And now you're trying to say that this man likes you because of your brain, and he likes to get questions because last week Eric said he had a good conversation. All you're doing is trying to get him jealous in every possible way. The man tells you he's jealous, and then you go, why, babe? Don't be jealous. That's stupid. Like, what? Come on, girl, pick a side. Like, which one do you want? You want him to be jealous, or you don't want him to be jealous? Then you get on the date with Clarence, and all you're worried about is his abs. You don't want him to ask you no questions. You just want him to walk around with his shirt off or whatnot. But you want to pry into his situation with his ex. Made absolutely no sense. That was a red flag for me. And I was like, if that's the type of conversation that you're having with Eric, I can see why he's a little hesitant on wanting to marry you. Because, we're not getting nowhere. We're not having no meaningful conversation on what you want to do in the next 5 years. What, how you want to raise our kids. I mean, I kind of wish that last week she had answered him, or they allowed that answer when he kept saying, babe, where's the board cutter? Where's the board cutter? It's like, baby, with the cutting board? Like, like, come on now. Like, maybe, if she corrects him like that, he wouldn't find her useless. And I'm wondering if he just does little things like that so he can see if she would correct them in those moments or whatnot. So we're going to jump down to the end where he said what he said, and he said that she was useless. But then right after that, he said, she hears me when I'm talking about her, but not when I'm talking about anything else. So your validation, Jessica's validation all the time is just talk about me, tell me how pretty I am, how good I look, this. But as soon as that conversation goes out the door, she's no longer listening. That's what I got from that or whatnot. If we talk about anything that's serious to Eric, she's checked out. And that proved what happened last week when he comes home and he says, I had deep conversation or whatever. Well, I thought we had deep conversation. Yeah, but it's not as deep as this conversation. I want more. I want that from you. He literally told her, I want that from you. It wasn't in the confessional or nothing like that. He told her to her face, I want that from you. And what'd she do? Okay, bet. And then started crying. It's like, sweetheart, in that moment right there, that's when you can open up. How am I not giving you death? What conversation should we be having for death? What would you like to see out of me? What do you want? You shut down. He actually told her, what do you want? I ask a question, you answer it. You ask a question, I answer it. It's that simple, sweetheart. Give the man what he wants. He'll give you what you want. So therefore, I mean, if a person shuts down, wait, let me rewind this whole thought because I'm going ahead of myself. Now, when he said that she was useless, or he shuts down everything that she said just because he thought it already. I can't give you death if you're doing that to me. Because you're basically telling me after 1 or 2 times, I'll give you 2, 3 times actually, that whatever I say doesn't matter to you. So why are you looking for death out of me when I try to open up and give you something and you shut it down? That will make me shut down every time. Every time you ask me something, I wouldn't want to give you a thing because I don't want to put myself in that position to feel bad about your response. That hurts. I'm not going to keep hurting myself for your satisfaction. So I think they both really just need counseling on how to communicate effectively with one another. There's love there. There's a lot of love there or whatnot. My one other problem is with it too, when they spoke on resolve, they like, oh, we just go do what we do and we don't talk about it and we just brush it under the rug, basically. It's like, no, we can't keep using sex as a cop-out to go around our problems. Those problems are still there. We need to be able to talk to it. So he needs to listen and open up and allow her to say what she say the way she says it. And she has to listen to him and give him some feedback and not be timid anymore, because she's afraid of how he's going to take that feedback. And I think overall, them two will have a very successful relationship leading to a marriage. They don't have, well, we don't know yet, but as far as right now, they don't seem to have many problems outside of this communication thing, but we'll see because, next week's little tidbit, I don't know.
Appreciate it, Chef J. Thank you very much. Melissa, can you please give us your thoughts? And shout out to Shanae. She broke it down for me.
I will be glad to do so. So for me, Eric and Jessica is Mr. and Mrs. superficiality. I don't even know if that is a word, but it sounds good to me. And you guys get the point. Everything with them is surface level and shallow. And I need Eric to take accountability for the fact that he got with Miss Jessica, Miss Instagram, Miss Baddie for her looks. So the fact that you want her to give you depth and I suppose intellect is somewhat unfair because it's like you're asking her to give you something looked at her highly for. So the fact that you're criticizing her is highly hypocritical. And somebody said something that is so important and makes so much sense, and I want to repeat it. And they said that if you're calling her useless for giving you the same advice that you've thought of, then you're projecting your insecurities on her. And at the end of the day, Miss Jessica should not be to blame or is not liable for your problems in your life. And clearly, his failed NFL career is one of the issues and I think frustrations and sources of insecurity for him. And I suppose for him to feel better about himself, he throws it on Jessica and somewhat demeans her in a certain regard to keep her where she is so that she doesn't elevate, so that she doesn't become a better person. And I feel like another thing about it is if you are saying that she brings up points that you've already brought and that because of that that makes her useless or her points useless, then you're basically saying you're useless. You're basically saying you cannot think beyond a certain thing, and because she's also unable to do that, it's easy for you to throw that on her, but it's difficult for you to think introspectively and look at yourself and your inability to solve your own issues. And another thing with um her date with Clarence, she mentions that Clarence is respectful and gives her attention and makes her feel confident. And these are all the things that she's clearly lacking in her relationship with Eric. But I feel like Eric doesn't give these things to her as a means to control her because as I keep saying, the basis of this couple's relationship is almost like a tit for tat thing where, oh, let me see how hard or easy it is for you to show your jealous side. I feel like they love when each other shows their jealous side because it almost seems like they care, because she says, oh, it's good to know that he's not acting hard all the time. But then he says the same thing about her regarding this surface of hardness that they like to show. But deep inside, it just covers their insecurities, and they both have these insecurities. And for Jai's point, they do have issues besides the communication thing. And it has to do with, remember when Jessica was talking about her insecurities with him and his past infidelities, and she has not gotten past that. And for a lot of couples, this is a make or break situation. So I don't feel like they have the least amount of problems, but I do feel like it's not, I suppose, as damaging as the 14-year relationship that Darian has with Alexia. So yes, that's it for me and my assessment of this couple.
Bars. Thank you, Melissa. Just to add, I think Sean's position has shifted because he no longer is in the NFL. I think the blinkers are now off. I think the pink shaded glasses he's wearing, I think have also worn off as well. I think whilst he was in the NFL, he could get away with being with her at a certain level that he didn't require from her. And I think once the NFL left him, the status and the power left him, suddenly you got to deal with self. And what is self? What is self? And what does self want? And I think now those true needs came to the forefront, right? Because you're no longer that big baller. You're no longer the status person. You're no longer the NFL person. You are just Eric. And now suddenly you're looking at it going, actually, what does this Eric need? I need more. I need depth. But it's tough because, like I said, I haven't really seen much depth from Eric yet either. That he's saying that he wants more depth from her, but it could be that just that fact that when it gets to a certain level of conversations, their levels are different. So maybe he can go a little bit deeper than she can, and she doesn't know how to go that deep, and it's causing issues. And I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think that can change in a relationship. I'm going to be honest with you. Yeah, to change the trajectory of how you think and the faculties of your mind. Many of you actually have here. You've got your degrees, or you've gone to college, etc. For us in the UK, college and then university. You can almost tell the difference between people who have been educated to a higher education than those who haven't. And sometimes it's just the way that you even reason, sometimes the way that you conversate, sometimes the way that you even formulate the points, and even some of the words that we use that you're like, okay, this person is my level. That's not to say that someone who hasn't been educated on that level can't hang with the kids on that particular sphere. But there's a certain way that we oftentimes, who have been educated to a certain level, begin to discuss certain things. And I think maybe that's the kind of thing he's kind of talking there, in the sense of not her degree, but in the way that she discusses certain things. Maybe for him, it doesn't come out the way that he would like it to come out. That sounds educated. And it also, the final thing of this is, I think he really has a perception of her, and that's not going to change. Like, when he met her, she was the beautiful Instagram model, who doesn't need to offer anything but just bring into the table her beauty. That image is wedged into his head. So anything she says now will always be, it's coming from that girl that's on Instagram, who's just a pretty girl, rather than being, oh, this is my partner, and she actually has some wisdom that could be added to me to help me along the way. So, yeah, I think it's interesting watching Jessica and Eric. I mean, I think they can. I think if they get some good intervention, it can be saved. I think it can be saved. Do you know what I'm saying? But like I said, depth doesn't come overnight. That is something that I don't think you get by staying in a relationship. Okay, but let's move the conversation. Before we do, guys, make sure you do something for me. Like, share, subscribe to this channel. Do you know why? Because we do some great stuff like this. We do live panels where we discuss some of your favorite TV shows and break it down with other great like-minded people who have what? Depth. And so we appreciate them. I'm so sorry, I'm being paid today. It's the mouse's fault. We appreciate the fact that you guys might be joining new to this channel. We're all here about breaking down behavior, talking on a level about relationships that we're seeing on these TV shows. If you're new, make sure you subscribe to the channel. For those of you returnees, you already know what it is. You got the minerals, baby. I would sing, but I don't want to ruin your ears today. Do you know what I'm saying? You get me? Let's move on to the last couple. Let's talk a little bit about the dragon slaying Sir James. Or Sir James slaying the dragon. And talk about Laronda, the noble queen beside him. What was your thoughts, ladies and gentlemen, on the dragon situation? Because obviously, like, Sir James came in, went bowling, Laronda. It seemed like it was going really well. I thought it was going really, really well. He was respectful, but still a bit flirty. I thought there was enough there to take us to another date. But it didn't seem to come to fruition. What was your guys' thoughts on their interactions this episode? Chef J, go for it, since you are already on a hot streak. Let you continue the hot streak.
First of all, I'm going to say production is funny, or whoever coordinated their confessionals between Laronda, Brittany, and what is it, Sean? They all was in blue. I was like, oh, that's cute. Little three-way action going on. Let me leave that alone, okay? Let me stop. But yeah, I was weirded out about the fact Laronda didn't choose another date with that because of her reason for it. she said that she wanted a man to lead conversation. And I was just like, huh, are you sure if that's the reason, or it was just because you're tired of the pettiness that's going on at home between you and Sean, behind you going on another date with him? Because when we started back this episode, we already knew that there was some issues going on that morning. They got into it, whatever, that morning and stuff. And part of her reason for going on the second date is because of some way he was acting. So, and he said, we're both petty. So it's just like, okay, so we're going to tit for tat thing. You know, you say something, so because you said something, I'm going to go ahead and do this or whatever. So it's like, were you really into going on the second date in the first place, or was you just doing it to spite Sean? And vice versa with Sean. Were you really wanting to go on this date with Brittany, or you just did it because she decided she wanted to go on a second date with Sir James? So it's like a little too much games to unpack with them too, which leads me to the fact that she keeps mentioning she likes games. Her first date with Sean was where they went and played games. Her date with, I can't remember the guy from last week, that date, her first date, she was liking the fact that, you know, they can throw grapes with each other. They play the little games and stuff. This date, they're going bowling. She mentioned she likes playing games. So this, I know we like to say Sean is manipulating the stuff, but that made me think, are you manipulating some stuff too, Laronda? Like, what's going on? You want to play games and stuff. So it's like, is Sean a game for you? You know, is this breakdown of emotions kind of entertaining to you? Because honestly, don't play with him like that, because that's not healthy. What he's going through is not healthy at all. Or whatnot. He really needs some type of help to get that in control. Like, crying is okay, but having mental breakdowns because you're out on a date, your insecurities are on that high of a level that you can't even function or whatnot, that's not something to play with a person like that. Those people are potential killers or whatnot. So don't play with a person in that manner like that. Like, you know, let that sleeping bear be. Like, don't do that. And so it was just like weird that, you know, you're saying that Sean has this childish behavior and you like Sir James' confidence and all of this stuff like that, but you don't want to go on another date with him. So you like games. Let's be honest, you like games or whatnot. Now, Sean, on the other hand, you know, you go on the second date. The date is not really a date. You guys are at her music, at her studio session or whatnot. And I'm not mad at Britt. You know, go ahead, get your advertisement out there that you do your music, girl, shoot, or whatnot. Sean come in, he all like a fan in the front row. Ooh, Britt, like, girl, like, boy, calm down. Just chill out or whatnot and stuff. But you're like, so you cut the date so short because you're afraid of the connection that you guys are having by bonding over both being entertainers. You're like, I know where this can go if I continue down this road. It's like, where can it go, Sean? Because it can't go nowhere. You won't let it go or whatnot. So are you afraid of being like your daddy, not because of financial reasons, but being your daddy because he wasn't in the house for other reasons? So let's be honest, what the truth is. You're not holding off this wedding with Laronda because you're not financially insecure. You're holding off this wedding because you're scared that you might do the same thing your daddy did, because that was part of your path that you were saying, that you were afraid to be like your father. So what the true issue is, and you might want to protect your father to some, but the true issue is you felt like your dad was a deadbeat dad by going off to be with another family somewhere else while you and your mother struggled, and you don't want that for your thing. That's fixable. So if that's the issue, address that issue so it can be fixed. If you don't want to marry Laronda, just say you don't want to marry Laronda. Stop wasting everybody's time. But at some point, you're still going to have to fix that issue, because that's a real insecurity with you, because you can't even be secure in yourself to go out on a date without believing that you're going to do something else in the end. Like, that's crazy. You don't have to do anything but enjoy the date and come on back home. You know, and then the last excuse, oh, I'm gonna go on this date again with her. I'm gonna put myself in the lion's den or whatnot. I'm not mad, because if that's an issue that you need to work at your own self-control, sometimes putting yourself to the test can do that. But just understand, if you're that afraid to play with fire, don't go by the fire. That's all. Stay clear of it all the way. So, I mean, I pretty sure got more, but I'll let everybody else go ahead and finish.
Appreciate it, Chef J. Appreciate it. Brittany, talk to me. What are you saying? What's your thoughts?
Okay, so firstly, I'll just say, when they started calling him Dragon Sean, I hollered. I don't know about anybody else. But and the thing is, that just told a lot to me, that if Laronda can sit there and talk about Sean like that, then she's pretty close to being out the door with him. She's tired of the childlike games, the whining, the crying. And let me just be clear. I don't mind a man crying. I don't have no problem with that. But it's a time and a place for everything. And it's becoming too much when it's a cry for help. Like I've mentioned in the past, he needs help, right? And we all know that. So I'm not going to go back into that. But yeah, it tells a lot when you can talk about your significant other to someone else that you're dating, possibly. Once again, same thing with Alexia and Darian, where he told Kai that she's insecure. It's like overstepping the line. You're giving too much to somebody that doesn't even know you guys. The other thing is, Laronda, she knows exactly what she wants in a man at this point, because again, Sean is not enough for her at this point anymore. Now that they're going through this process, you know, things are being opened up. Dr. Nicole is making points about certain issues that Sean has and certain issues that Laronda has, and is opening up both of them. And so that point came up to me when she said she was looking for someone to lead her or to lead the conversation, which Sir John, whatever his name is, what is it? Sir James, Sir John, whatever. He didn't do that. And that is a big thing that women want. They don't always want to be in control. She's getting tired of being in control. And I think that is a reflection of what she is tired of with Sean. So I think you guys are going to notice that as she goes on these dates, you're going to see that a lot of the issues she may complain about with her dates are issues she has with Sean. And so as time goes on, again, Sean is a placeholder for her. And so at some point she's going to leave him. Let's see. The last thing was, so pretty much Sean, when they were sitting down talking to Dr. Nicole, they were both doing the tit for tat thing, like Jay was saying. And as they were answering, all I heard was game on from both of them. So I was like, all right, now you want to play? I'm going to play with you too. And it's more so, I think Sean doesn't realize that he has more at stake to lose. Laronda can go on and live her life and be married. She might be a little hurt that she's not with Sean anymore because, yes, they've been together for so long and, you know, she sees his potential, but potential is only going to last for so long in a woman's mind. I'm not staying for potential. I don't think anybody should be with anybody for potential for too long anyway. Like you give that a certain amount of time and then something needs to manifest. Like something has to change. And with Sean, nothing has really changed yet. So when are we going to get a different side? But and it's not going to come until Sean gets the help he needs. And I'm not saying Laronda doesn't need help either, but Sean needs a lot more help than she does. And this insecurity thing and manipulation thing and a narcissist narrative is getting on her nerves at this point, and she's coming to her wits end because it's being thrown in her face so much. Like I mentioned last week with it being a pressure cooker. When you're in a pressure cooker, things keep getting thrown at you repeatedly all the time. And so now it's becoming annoying to her, and she's probably ready to move on and leave. In her mind, it's about that time. But the question is she really going to leave? Is she going to go? Is she going to move on? So we have to just kind of watch and see how everything plays out.
Appreciate it, man. Pressure cooker stuff indeed, man. Pressure cooker stuff indeed. And I appreciate your views on Sean as well. I think, yes, I do think that Laronda's at her wits, because for the fact that she mentioned it to Sir James, you know, she's like, oh yeah, I think he's just so insecure. I was like, yeah. She's even exposing that to Sir James. You know what I'm saying? He's ready to slay the dragon, and you're telling him more information to help him slay the dragon. Doesn't make sense. But I think she's at her wit's end, you know, in terms of being at the. It's becoming crippling, his behavior, and I think she's clocking that now, that it's becoming crippling, and she can't cope, and she can't see the future doing this forever and ever. So he's gonna have to sort himself out.
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah.
She's almost like an emotional punching bag for him, and that becomes too much. She even said it's draining. She literally said it is draining for her to be with him, and that is how I can tell it's getting close to the end for both of them. So, and since we were playing Song Association, I heard the song End of the Road by Boyz II Men for both of them. So we'll see what happens with that.
I appreciate it, Brittany. Appreciate you. All right, cool. Chris Natha, have we heard from you on situation with our boy Sean the Dragon?
Sean the Dragon. Okay. So Laronda on her date, the same way I said with Darian, it wasn't okay for him to open up a door for Kai to feel like, okay, I'm in here, right? We can talk about Alexia and all that stuff. It's the same way that I noticed with Laronda, when she's getting ready for her dates, of course, we all know Sean is at home watching her get dressed and telling her what he feels about her outfits. And he always tends to say something about her date, whether it's their name or something like that. And she's always like, do not joke about my date. Don't joke on his name. Don't crack jokes. Like, don't do that, right? And then they're talking about, joking about the whole dragon thing. Even though she probably meant that. I'm sure she meant that. I'm sure that's how she felt. But she want to make sure, too, she's not opening up a door for anybody to disrespect Sean. Nothing wrong with how she feels, but you just want to make sure that you're not giving people access to, like, crack jokes and all that stuff on your partner. Also, just like Brittany just said, she actually said Sean's behavior is draining. Like, she said those words. When I heard her say that, out just similar to what Brittany shared, I was like, you know what? Okay. I get it. You're tired. And we all know the song. I won't sing it. But when a woman is fed up, when someone says they're tired, it's not a good sign. That means she's been tired. She's been tired, and she's now starting to vocalize that she's drained. And I'm all for couples checking in with each other, but I just don't like that every time she's asked, are you going to go on another date with this person? She has to look at Sean almost like a check-in. Like, let me check the temperature. Let me see, is he going to squeeze my hand? Is he going to blink twice? Like, I have to make sure, like, like almost this nonverbal, like, okay, maybe I should say no. His eyes are saying he's about to cry or something's going on. And I think that that's just too much. It's just a date. So nothing wrong with her not wanting to go on another date with her date, Sir James, if the reason is the actual reason, and not her saying, hey, I want to make sure I protect Sean's feelings again. However, it's important that she's also honest with herself. And I feel like the dates will start to help her see, because then I think she'll have stuff to compare, right? You know what? I prefer this, not so much of that. So yeah, she's drained. She's tired. And with Sean, it's not something that Laronda can fix. This is an inside job. This is Jesus therapy and everything in between, So, yeah, Laronda And also, just as a side note, I feel like she gets more beautiful each episode. I don't know. This episode, I was girl crushing. I'm like, man, she's even more beautiful than the last episode. She looks so beautiful. I was like, girl, you looking. I know she couldn't hear me, but I was like, yes, sis, yes. Like, she looked amazing. So yeah, I hope that she continues to learn more about her and what she actually needs, and not consider Sean, but not to the point where she is not being honest about what she needs. So
Appreciate that, Chris. Nothing. Appreciate that. Yes. Good bars. Okay, Sean. Let's hear from you.
Sure. So I'll tackle my good brother Sean. First of all, I don't know where they came up with the dragon concept for this dude. There ain't nothing dragon about this dude. He's like the gecko from Geico. All right. Ain't nothing dragoning about him. So let's just remove that dragon. It was a funny joke though. But, I think that Laronda, let Sir James in a little bit, and they were bonding. I don't know what was taking place. And then in the end, she chose not to go back out with him. And I wonder if that's because she was intimidated, right? And I think there is a little element of her that likes to have the upper hand over Sean. And there's something about that dynamic that's keeping her locked in. And I always look at that in relationships when people are in something that we on the outside can look and see and it just doesn't make sense. Well, something is keeping them attached. And that power dynamic, and we talked about it before, because she's not requiring anything of Sean to step up to the plate to marry her. She just says, give me the ring and let's get married. So I don't care if your income's unstable. I don't care if you are emotionally draining me. Just, I want the ring. I want to be married. And that's it. And the ironic part is he's still not able to step up and give her that, right? Knowing that she's willing to accept less than. So that's very interesting to me. Why the two of them stay together? Does he just want to have this relationship go on in perpetuity this same way? Does he just want to keep things as is? He talks about wanting his career to get to a place where he's comfortable, where he feels like he's a provider. And then he talks about the fact of his father issues. And then he felt like his father was only a provider, but not really present in the household. But he's not a provider and he's present. So what's the real issue, dude? Like, what is it? Let's get to the meat of the matter and figure out what your problem is. But for him, there's just so many smoke screens. And he plays games. And I've been in relationships like that where you get caught up in the petty wars, and then you're just trying to out petty each other. I know what to do to kind of push your button. I'm going to push your button over here. I'm going to come over here and push your button. Before you know it, time's passed. And that's all your relationship is. And you two are on two different teams in the same relationship. So it's a recipe for disaster. And they're not really focusing on what the real issues are in their relationship. What do they both need from each other to move forward? And he is an emotional basket case and a major manipulator. So I just have zero tolerance for him. I just, that lack of being straightforward, that lack of character, it's problematic to me. I saw in the comments, right, he's giving us Ralph Tresvant vibes, Carl Thomas, all the emotions, right? But none of the substance, none of the what it takes to make a relationship work. None of the, okay, this is what I can do. This is how I'm going to hold you down. I appreciate you stepped in, filled in the gap for me while I was working on my career. No, he's just busy crying, licking his wounds, trying to see who's touching her back, which they admitted, and Sir James admitted. He admitted that he did it when Laronda brought it up to him. So, Kojo, we talked about that, right? We talked about that last week and said that was a move. And you saw he joked about it and said, oh, I just wanted to make sure you stumbled and didn't get out of the door the right way. No, bro, you knew exactly what you were doing. And he threw out a couple of other little flirting things to her during the date, trying to gauge her. But ultimately, she's wrapped up in taking care of Sean. That's what's keeping her. She's like in this spin cycle of trying to take care of him, manage his emotions, make sure he's okay, mother him. And he has this gaze with her. Like he looks up at her like she's the husband in their relationship. So they need to get it together and figure out if they what they want to do, what they want their relationship to look like, what they're expecting of each other, and either get it together or move on. My thoughts.
Appreciate it, Sean, man. Appreciate it. Very powerful stuff there. Very powerful stuff. Yeah, man. I'm hearing you, bro. I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you. It's just a shame, innit? You know what I mean? It's a big shame when it comes to Sean and the Dragon and Laronda. Do you know what I mean? And I think his responses in terms of being gleeful when she's not going on another date really does kind of show where he's at the moment. And I think with him especially as well, when I see his behavior with Laronda, there was actually, I think, in the very beginning part where I can't remember, I put in my notes, both Laronda and him, in terms of their pettiness when it comes to the reoccurring date even. I don't think I wrote it down. Gosh, I wish I did. Okay, so she said something when it was a little cut scene, where they were both sitting down and talking, and he's like, oh, she basically took the last date. She's taking this date because they got into an argument, and I was like, wait, what? I was like, sis, either you going or you weren't going. Like, why did the argument dictate now you going on a date? And I think that goes back to your point, Chef Jay and Sean as well, in terms of the fact that the dynamic, she might like this dynamic, that whenever he's at threat, it's keeping him close to her. You know what I'm saying? And I wouldn't be surprised if we see towards the end of the show that everything that we thought was Sean moving mad was also Laronda moving absolutely just as mad. Do you know what I'm saying? I wouldn't be surprised if that's how it turns out to be. But yeah, that was something I saw and I said, okay. I hear what you're saying. All right, cool. Let me get someone else's thought processes here. Dr. Nundi, talk to me.
All right. So just starting off in the beginning of the episode, I found it hilarious. I actually laughed at it when Dr. Nicole, she asked the both of them if they wanted to go on a date with their dates. And she asked Sean, how do you feel about it? And he was like, oh, well, I'm putting all the candy in front of her, but I want her to know that she's actually choosing me. And I'm like, this dude in the level of pettiness mixed with shade that he's throwing, like, yo, you're so immature for that. But he got read though, because Dr. Nicole, she read those receipts right back at him. And I'm like, so what you gonna say now? Because you thought you was just gonna be petty with that. But then Laronda wasn't right either, because she over there slick smiling with her mouth being closed and her eyes, and Dr. Nicole got on her too. So it's like when you watch the rest of that and they about to walk out, it almost looked like two kids that just got in trouble in the principal's office. Because y'all know y'all being petty, and Dr. Nicole is trying to help y'all, but she low-key, high-key feeling like she's wasting her time a little bit, because y'all are not learning from the things that she's telling y'all, and y'all going home and being petty about nothing. And in regards to, Laronda's decision, I was not buying that. I'm so sorry, but I just was not buying that, because Sir James, like, she said, or he said he played football, and the way he guided you out the door and all these other things that he was initiating, I'm just not buying her excuse as to why she didn't continue that date with him. And he looked like Shawn Wayans to me a little bit. So the man is attractive. He's very attractive. You could have easily went on that third or fourth date with that man. And I found it interesting also how when she said, oh, I don't want to go with him, whatever. Sean over here looking like the kid in the candy store with this big old grin on his face, the same way he just laid this candy out in front of her with the dates that she gonna go on. He looked like the same kid in that candy store smiling at her response. But you finna go on your date and she not going on her date. I was like, if this ain't petty, I don't know really what is. And it's just so childish. And it just, at this point, it's annoying because it's like either you with it or you not. Either you gonna fix whatever need to be fixed or you not. But this tit for tat stuff, it doesn't get anywhere, and it just gives us as the audience a pure headache at the end of the day. And in regards to that dragon comment, I definitely agree with Chris. Like, she was up here defending her previous dates, but she did not in no way, shape, or form defend Sean at all. She partook in that laughter and she kept kicking it up on that date the entire time. And then when Sir James said, well, it's almost like, a mother dating a child, she did not disagree. She did not disagree. She agreed to every bit of that and continued to proceed in that conversation. So that just let me know right there, ma'am, what are you doing? Because you're no longer dating a grown man. You're dating a child. And you can't be talking about you want a man that's going to initiate whoop-de-whoop, and you over here entertaining a whole child that you standing with. So you can't get mad at Sean, you get mad at yourself. Because Sir James was a whole catch. And you let him go like you just fumbled the football. Girl. If it's just at this point, I'm like, all right. But even with Laronda also, like, she knows what she's doing. She playing it real cool, calm, collective. Like some of the ladies said, she's starting to get even more beautiful per episode. So I feel like she got this thing like mastermind a little bit. Like, she has this thing figured out what she gonna do. And when Sean think he being petty, she got a whole nother level petty for him that he don't even know about. So that's something to look out for as well. But Sean, when Sean said at the end of the episode, oh, I don't want to go in the lion's den. Well, let me just pause on that right there. Talking about you feel like you finna be in the lion's den. I hope you do know that Daniel had courage when he went in the lion's den.
Pause. Pause.
So you trying to avoid this lion den, let me know where you stand in your behavior being a coward. You signed up for this show. You know what is implied. You seen the previous season. So you know what will be. So just partake in whatever you sign your name to. But coming up with all these other excuses, knowing that Dr. Nicole, she did her job. She got some really nice dates for everybody on this show. It was no reason for some people to say, nah, I'm good, versus, well, I'm a little scared. Well, sir, again, you signed up for the show. Nobody had to force you to sign to be on this show. So if y'all hit it off, see why, and go from there. And it's clear that Laronda wants you to go through it, and she don't have no issue with it. So if your lady don't have no issue with it, then just take it for what it is in the experiment or journey and move forward. So that's my spiel with Sean and Laronda.
Appreciate it, Lindy. Appreciate it, Lindy. Thank you. Sharp as always. Sharp as always. All right. Let me get Melissa on. Melissa, let us know your thoughts on the dragon and the noble knight Sir James with Queen Laronda.
All right. So firstly, I'm going to be all over the place. I want to talk about Sir James, because a lot of people feel as if Laronda should have said yes to Sir James. But if you ask them why, all they say is that, oh, he looks good. I thought there was more to compatibility than just looks. Because if you really take away the looks and you look at their interaction, it's quite almost awkward. I don't see any real chemistry there. there might be attraction, but beyond that, there's literally nothing. And she did a live with Sir James, and I understand completely why she did not want to go out on another date with him. I completely feel like her point was valid because Sir James is not a communicator. When he speaks, he does not say much. And to have to force words out of somebody's mouth to force them to express their feelings and stuff, that's another, I should say, coddling situation that she'd have to do with Sir James. It may be different from what she's doing with Sean, but it would literally be the same thing in a different way. She's coddling Sean or soothing Sean when he's emotional, when he has his tantrums. She'd have to end up pushing Sir James to speak and express himself. So either way, she would be in a mommy situation with both of them in different ways, but in similar fashion. Now, when it came to Sean, I just find it really strange as to how easy it is for Sean to find himself in sticky situations with these women. This is the second date, or was it second, third? This is the second date that this man is talking about. Oh, he doesn't want to play with fire. He doesn't want to be in sticky situations. Could it be that he's just avoiding the inevitable? Could it be like that this man is just a rolling stone that has just stopped somewhere, and something is just preventing him from just continuing to roll? I feel like that is truly what it is. He's trying so hard to not be his dad, but his dad is inside of him. His dad is part of who he is, and he's trying so hard to get away from that. But I just feel like it's a matter of time before his dad manifests in himself. And that must be a scary situation or even thought for Sean. But in my opinion, he's just stalling. It's just a matter of time before he actually does the things that he's already thinking. And as Dr. Nicole said, if you're already acknowledging the fact that you're in a sticky situation, that means your mind is already there. You're already there. It's just a matter of you just pushing forward with it. And he's choosing to stop, but at some point I just feel like he's just gonna give in. Okay, so there's that. And then I do feel like Sean and Laronda have this tit for tat situation within their relationship, where I feel like what it really is Sean is following Laronda's lead. So if Laronda does something, then he's gonna follow with it, because it's like, well, if you're going there, I'm going there. Almost like a mother again, looking for her for direction, looking to her for direction, And that's just the dynamic of their situation. And to address Sean, because Sean was asking, he doesn't understand why, what's keeping them in that relationship. It's emotional manipulation, primarily from Sean, from the other Sean. That's what's keeping him there. That's what's keeping her there, because she feels like she has to stay there to just coddle his feelings, to baby him, to soothe him, to, make sure that he's good. And that is why she's there. She loves it because it gives her a certain level of power. But as she stated, it exhausts her as well. And sometimes she just needs a break from that. And that's probably why she even took the date with Sir James. But then she realized that Sir James is just another person she'd have to coddle, and she just didn't want to deal with that. So I do feel
we lost her for a second or two. Whoa, she was just flowing as well, she was going somewhere with it, you know what I mean? She's back, so we can bring her back on. Let her finish. Alexia, go for it. Finish off your points.
my internet cut off again. My goodness. But anyways, I just wanted to close by saying that they're actually both emotionally manipulating each other. Laronda does it when she does the snide comments of, oh, well, we'll see about that, or when she says things like, well, something about vice versa. Basically, she kind of lets him know that if you do that, then I'm gonna do that. Adi's response to it is to kind of police where she goes, what she does. And I think that is a part of his insecurity, but that's also a part of Laronda just purposely being elusive. She doesn't give him a clear direction. Are you in? Are you out? Where are you? And that scares him and it makes him nervous. And he responds by policing her. But I don't agree with Sir James that it's like a parent, policing their child. It's more so of a scared little boy wanting to know where his mother is and what his mother is doing. So that is the final thing on Sean and Laronda. Thank you so much.
Appreciate Melissa. Appreciate. Good points. Man, it's been eye opening to hear some of the different viewpoints. I haven't missed anybody else, have I? Everyone's spoken about this topic. Yeah, fantastic. Because we're reaching a 3-hour mark. So let me get everybody's closing statements. Please keep them a minute long maximum, so we can finish on the 3-hour mark. Let me go, Captain Sean. Lead us on the way down this path, man. Away from my captain to the, you know what I'm saying? Away from my captain.
Got you. So let's just have a word of prayer for the mice for Kojo, please. Let's just send them out in silence.
Please do.
Let my man sleep in peace. That's my prayer. Moving on to these other cast of characters. Darian and Alexia, still the same. Get out. Goodbye, leave, go your own separate ways. Next, Eric and Jessica. I've been chided. He needs to learn how to communicate better. So listen, get your thesaurus, get some classes, go to therapy, figure out how to talk to each other, and try to get some depth. Good luck with that, but try to get some depth. And lastly, Sean and Laronda, he needs to exit stage right and go perform on the stage and go see a therapist for one-on-one sessions to heal. And that's in all seriousness. That bro has a lot of moving parts, moving pieces. He needs to heal. And, I'm sure she could find somebody that can be a better mate, a better partner to her in a marriage if that's really what she wants. And that's my summation.
Love that, Sean. Thank you very much. Brittany, if I can get your summation. 1 minute summation.
Okay, I was in the middle of writing it, but I'll just go with what I have. So Laronda is, again, like I've been saying for the past couple of weeks, is just enabling Sean and playing mommy, and is becoming tiresome. And she is seeing that through the dates that she's been going on. And so that is going to breed resentment. She will continue to go back and forth with him with the petty games. Alexia needs to realize her worth. That'll only come through her recognizing where she is going wrong, and just different things being brought up by Dr. Nicole so that they can get past these issues. Darian needs to deal with his mother wounds, because I feel like Doc said, he is dealing with some commitment issues, and a lot of it stems from his mom, it seems. Jessica and Eric, they both are similar and they want the same things, but they're both growing in different directions. Eric's mindset is changing from NFL to now real life, and reality is setting in. I mentioned that a couple of weeks ago as well, or probably like 2 weeks ago, that if your mindset is changing, then you're going to have to change some of the things around you in order to grow. And he's starting to realize that. And like people have been saying, he chose Jessica. Jessica was good for the then in the past when he was in the NFL. Now things are starting to change. And maybe she is not enough for where he is going. And with Sean, baby, you need help. He gotta work on himself, like we've all been saying. So that's about it for me.
Appreciate it, Brittany. Appreciate it. Dr. Nindi, give us your 1 minute summation, please.
Okay. So for Alexia, if she feels the needs to leave, then she needs to go ahead and leave the relationship. It's toxic. It's a lot going on, and the things that she desires, he's not willing to give. So she just needs to go ahead and leave. And if she honestly doesn't know how to leave, my prayer is that she have some lady friends or even listen to Dr. Nicole as to what she needs to say concerning their relationship so she can really figure that out for herself to leave. As far as Darian, as we already said, he has the mother wounds and the fear of commitment that he really needs to address. I understand he may not want to talk about it, but it's necessary for him to talk about it, whether he continues his relationship with Alexia or not. In regards to Eric and Jessica, they just need to really sort out their issue with communication. They need to hear one another and use better choice of words in the relationship so they can get to the next step that, they're talking about getting to. In regards to Sean and Laronda, the pettiness, it just needs to be cut out. Stop being immature. We're both adults and handle it the way it needs to be handled. If you don't agree with something, talk about it. But all this tit for tat going back and forth, that's very toxic and that's no good for anybody. So that's my spiel for today.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nandi. Chef, if you can give us your 1 minute summation.
Eric and Jessica, stop playing into each other's insecurities. Learn to communicate better, more effectively. There's love there, but it's going to disappear if we don't get those two things resolved. Sean and Laronda, one of y'all got to grow up. One of y'all have to grow up and do it soon or whatnot, and force the other one to grow up if y'all going to stay together. Otherwise, just be apart or whatnot. Alexia and Darren, I'm going to do y'all separately. Alexia, sweetheart, move on. He's wasted enough of your time. Don't give him any more. Find you a real man that fits you after you find you, and then work on the family then. Darian, stop perpetuating the male Black stigmatism that exists in America by having a bunch of kids in a broken home family. Fix your commitment issues and give your children something better. Please. That's all I got to say.
Appreciate that. Let me get Melissa to give her viewpoint and I'll get Chris Nafa to end. Melissa, give us your 1 minute summation of this episode.
All right. I'm going to be pretty blunt, not disrespectful, just blunt. For Alexia and Darian, Miss Alexia, Darian has shown you time and time again that he doesn't want you. And what do the old people say? They say, never let a man tell you that they don't want you twice. So my advice to Alexia is leave, go, run. There are plenty of other men there that's going to marry you, give you children, give you what you want. It's not with Darian. Next couple, Eric and Jessica, Mr. and Mrs. Superficiality. What can I say about you guys? Eric is expecting a lot from Jessica, and I feel like that's just an excuse, and he needs to personally work on himself and his issues and do not project his stuff on Jessica because at the end of the day, they're at the same level. I don't know who he's trying to fool, who he's trying to project his stuff on, but they're at the same level mentally. That's what it seems like to me. And he got her for what she was good for, so just deal with that. If you have progressed further than just looks, leave. Don't stay and expect things from her that you know she cannot give you. Now, next person or next couple I should talk about is Laronda and Sean. Oh my goodness. Laronda, stop playing with that baby. Stop playing with him. Just, I don't know, if you're not ready to be serious with this man, leave him alone. Give him to our next mother. to cuddle him and baby him, because I feel like, as you said, you're sick of it, you're tired of it. And I feel that you are, and I feel like that is why you play the games that you play with him, is because you're sick of him. Sean, you need therapy, so okay, maybe I shouldn't say that. You need to grow up. I don't know, like, what is causing you to be in this perpetual childish mode? I don't understand. Anyways, work on yourselves, and you know, I guess that with individual work, all of these couples will do better together. Anyways, that's my little review. Thank you. Bye bye.
Appreciate. Chris Natha, take it away. Give us a minute summation, please.
Sure. So Alexia, you are beautiful. You do not have to put up with this. Take time. Your 20s are gone. Your 30s, we're halfway through, and you are still in the same space. I want more for you. We want more for you, and I pray that you want more for you. You don't have to accept this. You get to choose. Choose yourself, please. Darian, grow up, Darian. You're not the rapper guy. Like, you just have to accept who you are, where you are. Like, grow up. You don't want Alexia, leave her alone. You and Kai can run into the sunset together. But you have to do better. You have to do better. And I believe that they both need some personal inner work as well. With Jessica and Eric, I think they really need to sit down and get some counseling about their communication. If she truly is what he wants, then they need to sit down and really work on it. If not, let her go. She wants to be married. She wants children. Ladies, in our 30s, we don't have time to be playing around. These are our good fertile years, okay? So if somebody doesn't want what you want, then you don't have time to play. Okay, so Sean and Laronda. Laronda, stop playing. Be clear about what you want. Be honest.
You got 30 seconds to shorten this, okay?
Okay, be honest with your revelations. And Sean, I really want him to get some help. I don't think Dr. Nicole's help is enough. And so I really want him to take some time to work on him. So that's my wrap up.
Appreciate it. Guys, it's been one of those great episodes, okay? All right. I think do you know what? There's been some great moments in this conversation. And just hearing your points and viewpoints made me really I'm going to have to watch it again to get even some of the things that you guys pointed out for me. I especially love the key point where someone's pointed out that Eric bar, but that got me, man. So Ray, shout out Ray for that, man. It got me really thinking. But yeah, guys, listen, if you want to continue the conversation, you can do that in the comment section when this video ends. We love to hear your viewpoints as well in the comment section. Please do like, share, and subscribe. We've hit the 50k milestone. I'm looking to get to the 100k now, you know what I'm saying? But we need your help to do that, all right? So make sure you subscribe, share this with somebody else. Well, let them enjoy some of the great conversations that we have. We'll be here now every week now as well, because Ready to Love is finished, so we can have our original spot here. So we'll be back next week, same time. I think we start. Actually, is 7 a better time for you guys, or 6? Was it 6, 7? 6, 7. Let's keep it to 6. You know what I'm saying? Let's keep it to 6. Let me be consistent. Let me not change it. You know what I'm saying? We had 6 originally. Let's stick to 6. Okay. So we're back here next week, 6 p.m. CST time. Okay. Work it out if you're something else. All right. But listen, it's been great. It's been amazing. Okay. We've had laughs. We've had frights. I'm just talking about myself right now, okay? The mouse has really fully done me in, okay? All right, I've been trying to concentrate on everybody's chat, and all I can think about every single time when I turn my head is I thought I saw something, and I did see something. Do you know what I mean? It's been epic, okay? So it's given me a little bit more juice to the conversation than I usually have when I'm listening. But I really appreciate you guys for being interactive in the chat. Thank you to my panelists as well, Brittany, Sean, thank you very much. Dr. Nundi, appreciate you. Chef Jay, appreciate you. Chris Natha, thank you very much. Melissa, yes, thank you very much as well for joining us us today. We'll be back next week. And I think Family and Fiance starts actually next week as well. So maybe we might have a panel for that. We'll see what happens. See how it goes. You know what I'm saying? We'll see how it goes. Appreciate you guys. Stay locked, stay loaded, and stay hydrated. And we'll see you again next week for another enthralling conversation.